pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. So I don't need it's a workshop. All right, so I think first up on our agenda tonight is 79 Frederick Drive. So if you would come up, I don't see any microphone out there.
Oh, is this it? I'll bring it up.
That might be.
You think we need it yet?
Yeah, it should be recorded. It gets plugged in out there.
Here you go.
Stand by.
Good luck.
Good luck, you said.
Good luck. Glad you
Eric, do you
volunteered.
want those plans up?
If you could, just in case, I don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So Eric, how are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. Let me just turn to Dave. Dave, comments that you have?
Sure. So, yeah, we prepared a comment letter. I don't know if you received that yet?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. So, we'll go through them one at a time, if that's okay?
Yes.
So, just as a refresher, the application is for the installation of a 3,953 square foot stone paver patio, along with a retaining wall and driveway extension. The project site is 20,389 square feet in the SR20 suburban residential district. We have the following comments on the plan. Number one, plans should list the information of the owner of record for the project site. Number two, the top and bottom elevations should be provided at regular intervals along the length of the retaining wall. It appears from the information given that the wall exceeds 3 feet in height. Monroe Code 200-26.5G requires that all retaining walls 3 feet in height or greater, having a driveway structure or slope of 1:3 or higher, located above it, shall be designed by a licensed engineer and shall be approved by the building department. Number three, site plan indicates that the boundary survey was performed by Kenny Kennan PLS. Site plan should be signed and sealed by a licensed land surveyor, or a signed and sealed survey of the property shall be provided. Number four, the installation of the patio is listed as a type 2 action under New York State Codes, Rules, and Regulations 617.5. No review is required under secret. Number five, based on the projected amount of disturbance, a SWIP will not be required. Number six, plans should provide erosion and sediment control measures and provide details for them. Number seven, map shall indicate the source for the topography and spot elevations. Number eight, Village Code Section 200-26.5G4 states, for retaining walls over 3 feet in height visible from the road or adjacent property, the use of a smooth concrete wall shall not be permitted. The exterior of all such walls shall be natural materials or textured concrete, so as to minimize the negative visual impact of the wall. All retaining walls should satisfy this requirement. Number nine, Village Code 200-26.5G5 requires a 4-foot fence on any retaining wall greater than 5 feet tall. Fence is shown on the modular block retaining wall, but not on the CMU retaining wall. Top and bottom wall elevations indicate that there are portions of the retaining wall over 5 foot in height. Since the details only call for fence where required, it should be specified on the plans where fences will be needed. Number 10, applicant may wish to note that Village Code 200-44F prohibits storing recreational vehicles or boats within 10 feet of the side or rear property line. This means that the proposed driveway extension cannot be used for the storage of a boat or a recreational vehicle, and that is an information comment.
Any outstanding? Are these all outstanding, Dave?
Yeah, some of them were informational, but the comments that were noted should be addressed and on plans to be submitted.
Okay, Eric?
Yep. So point one, we'll add that information for the owner of record onto the cover sheet. Point two, we understand that the walls will require a building, will have to be approved by the building department, get a building permit. Yeah, and we'll provide signed and sealed drawings for that purpose, you know, once we get through through site plan approval. Point 3, we can provide a signed and sealed survey. These plans will remain signed by me as a professional engineer, but we'll provide as a supplement, a signed and sealed survey. And this ties into point 7. So we did do field work to acquire the topography and spot elevations. So we'll, yeah, as I mentioned, we'll get a signed and sealed survey to validate that. Point 4 is basically informational. Point 5 as well. Point 6, we did provide some erosion and sediment control measures. So I just wanted to confirm, are you talking more about specific items maybe for the swale? But if you look on page 3 of 4, we do provide riprap slope protection and compost filter socks for the areas of disturbance and outlet protection.
I know they had a detail, but I don't remember if they were shown on the plan here.
Yeah. Did you need anything more specific for the swale?
That may be okay.
Okay. And then continuing on, already addressed point 7, point 8. So we do have for the segmental retaining wall, the material it does have a texture to the face. It's not just a smooth concrete. So that has the aesthetic value that I think that's being required there in the code. For the CMU wall, I will actually be revising some of the spot elevations. I think there were a couple of them that were a little busted. So when I fix that, most likely it will be below 3 feet. But if there are any areas that exceed the 3 feet in height, we'll make sure that it receives a parging or some sort of a texture that will meet the intent of the code. Regarding point 9, we do understand that the modular block retaining wall will, in most cases, exceed the height requiring a fence. So we will provide that as was shown in the plan. Again, with the CMU wall, I'm going to revisit that just to make sure that all the spot grades are correct. But if we do exceed 5 feet, then we will provide the fence, and I'll show it with the symbology on the plan so you can see that where that's being provided. And then the last point, yeah, I think the applicant understands, we actually discussed that tonight, that anywhere within 10 feet of the property line, they could not store an RV or boat. I think the code typically pretty much stands by itself, but I guess the extra verbiage is just there to make sure that they know how it can and can't be used. But yeah, I think, I don't know if that needs to be adjusted, but I guess my point is, if they had something that's outside of the 10 feet, they could, in harmony with the code, where it would be applicable, they could store what was needed. But so I feel like the comment goes a little bit beyond the code language, but yeah, I understand the intent of it, and we did discuss that how it could be used and can't be used. Any other questions or comments? Does that address your concerns?
Yeah.
If we follow through.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Elizabeth?
Most of this, the comments are Dave's comments with respect to engineering. Just simply last meeting, we had asked them to certify where the town line was for purposes of GML 239. They're 570 feet, so they don't have to make a referral. Okay, by 70 feet. We had a discussion about submitting a short form EAF. The applicant did note that it was a type 2 action and cited 617.C12, and upon review, I have no objection to that, so classifying it as a type 2 and you don't need an EAF. With respect to the survey, there was discussion, he's relying on a prior survey. Given the nature of the work and assuming the survey is signed and sealed to Dave's satisfaction, I have no objection to reliance on that existing survey in this case.
Okay.
And then there was some discussion about, and again, this is a technical comment for Dave,
whether the proposed restoration to the drainage swale, is acceptable.
Dave?
Take a look at that and see what they have. What are you doing to restore the drainage swell?
Basically just restoring the contours. You know, we'll make sure that it's seated and stabilized so that it, you know, is able to, the permanent stabilization will take root before any, you know, would get washed away. So basically the main gist of the work though is that it was filled in to facilitate construction. So that will be reversed by removing the additional soils that were added, and we'll restore the contours that were there previously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember reading somewhere, I don't remember if it was in the cover letter or somewhere on the map, that there was language that it was to be restored to its original condition.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if that note's on the map? Or was it, do I remember it being from the cover letter?
It was in the cover letter for sure. I don't know if I put the verbiage. We call it typical swale restoration, but it was on the cover letter and the response letter as well.
Okay, I mean, I would actually ask, I guess then it would be good to have that on the map as well, a note to that effect. And I'll take a look at the particulars that you have for the restoration. And see if there's anything else on that, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Mm-hmm.
most of Dave's comments are what I call technical cleanup items. If I may, I'd like direction from the board. I can prepare our customary approval resolution subject to the various conditions. In the meantime, the applicant can work on those cleanup items, but then, you know, let's to evaluate and take action on a resolution.
I agree with that.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, anybody else on the board comment?
No, it's
Second to the motion? Well, we can't make a motion anyway.
And my
It's a
memo
workshop.
says 21st, your meeting is on the 28th.
That's right.
Okay, yep, I think that's right. Good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric, appreciate it.
this.
Seems really loud to me,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
That's louder than normal.
You can hear it everywhere.
Humming speaker?
Yeah.
It's loud, right? Louder than normal. It touches like a yell back there.
Yes. Hey, don't. You're gonna get a memo. Remember last time you were.
Okay, 330 Stage Road. Hey, Dave.
Hello, everyone.
Stand by 1 minute. David, 330 Stage Road,
Yes.
your comments.
So you have comments on that? Did you receive a copy of the letter?
Yeah, and I want to thank Secretary for getting it to us on so early. Appreciate it very much.
So you want to just go through this again like we did on the last one?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Bring everybody up to speed, same page.
Okay, so the project involves the merging of two lots and a change in use of the existing one-story mixed-use commercial building located at the intersection of New York State Route 17M and Stage Road. Plans previously submitted proposed variations of uses, including the use of the building for a furniture store, retail, fitness gym, and auto body repair. The applicant is now seeking to divide the existing building into two uses, with the upper floor being wholesale retail furniture store and the lower level being used for a daycare. We have the following comments on the plans provided. 1, the land use determination indicates that the proposed daycare use is permitted in the GB district and subject to a special use permit following section 200-58. The daycare minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet, and the retail minimum lot size is also 20,000 square feet, meaning the combined minimum lot area is 40,000 square feet. The existing lot is 45,398 square feet and is compliant. The applicant is proposing proposing to combine the two lots to create a single parcel with an area of 6.089 acres. Number 2, the zoning table on sheet C2 should be revised as follows. A, the required gross lot area should be listed as 40,000 square feet. B, the net lot area should be listed as 40,000 square feet. That'd be the minimum required for net lot area. Okay. Number 3, the following requirements of section 200-58 of the Village Code, daycare, shall be noted on the plan. A, there shall be no more than one daycare center per lot. B, the limits of any outdoor play area or recreation area shall not extend closer than 20 feet to any residential property line. C, all daycare centers shall have an active outdoor play area of 100 square feet per child, which is actually the area that you have provided.
Yeah, thank you.
D, outdoor play area shall be appropriately fenced or otherwise protected from roads and nearby properties. E, off-street parking and loading shall comply with the provisions of Article 11. F, the operator shall have a valid license from New York State. And G, the daycare center shall comply with all applicable conditions and limitations of the New York State Department of Social Services relating to the operation and licensing of daycare centers, and shall have all required licenses and certificates. Number 4, previous submissions for the project included flood barriers and proposed fill within the floodplain. As stated in the MHE letter dated January 8, 2025, and the memo from Building Inspector Cox dated January 9th, 2025, the applicant no longer wishes to have the barriers installed in the floodplain, and there is no proposed grade changes within the floodplain. The applicant is proposing to flood-proof the building and install fencing around the playground area, which will require a flood permit, but will be handled by the building department under the permitting process.
My apologies. Should I comment along the way, or?
Let him just finish, Dave, and then comment. We'll go back.
Number 5, the plan includes a parking calculation indicating a requirement of 34 parking spaces and bases the requirement associated with the daycare to be 1 space per employee. There is no parking generation rate for daycare listed in the Village Code. The plan also includes a note that children shall be dropped off by bus only, and that the parking is for daycare staff only. This would seem to be unrealistic, as portions of the parking are also being shared for the retail space, and there would occasionally be parents who would drop off or pick up children. Applicants should advise if there are also occasional events that would be held at the center that would require parking for parents or visitors. The applicant should provide justification for the parking provided using ITE parking generation rates. Number 6, the applicant should provide a narrative describing the uses with particular attention to hours of operation, drop-off and pickup times, and number of buses typically involved. The narrative should explain how traffic movements for the furniture space will be kept separate from those associated with the dropping off and picking up of children. Number 7, the proposed turning movements for the bus turnaround appears to travel in a clockwise direction, which is opposite typical traffic motions. Design professional to advise why this is the case. Number 8, the proposed area of disturbance does not include the proposed playground area. Will the area be maintained in its current condition, or will there be any changes in the grade or ground surface for the playground? Number 9, there exists an overhead door on the side of the building where the drop-off area, presumably for the children, is shown. Will this overhead door be removed and replaced with a new door? Will there be another overhead door provided to serve the furniture store? Is there a loading space provided for furniture deliveries? Number 10, project proposed the consolidation of tax lots 213-1-30, 2-13-1-32.1, and 213-1-51 into a single lot. Consolidation of the lots shall be a condition of any site plan approval to be issued by the planning board. Number 11, per section 200-44J, parking lots and loading spaces shall be screened visually from adjoining properties. The screening plan shall be approved by the planning board. Number 12, per section 200-45J, parking lots shall devote 10% of the total required parking area to landscaping, which shall meet the provisions of section 200-32, trees and landscaping. Number 13, per section 200-32, trees and landscaping, trees shall not be planted between May 15th and September 15th without specific authorization of the building inspector and or the village engineer. Note 9 on sheet C3 should be revised accordingly. Number 14, a landscaping plan has been provided consisting of 30 boxwood shrubs, 5 white cedar trees, and 7 dogwood trees. Planning board should review the plan for adequacy. Number 15, per section 200-34.85, lighting. Light sources shall not be directly visible from a public right-of-way or neighboring residential lot. All outdoor lighting shall allow no emission of light above horizontal and limited to no more than 10% of lamp lumens at or above 80 degrees. Existing fixtures do not appear to comply with these requirements. The board should consider if they should be replaced as part of the project improvements. Number 16, proper illumination of the bus turnaround queuing area should be provided. Number 17, applicant to advise if any new signage is proposed for the retail and daycare facility. Number 18, the application requires referral to the Orange County Department of Planning based on its proximity to the Orange County Heritage Trail. Number 19, project is subject to the Architectural Review Board review and approval. Number 20, the submitted EAF form indicates the presence of potential endangered species habitat, northern long-eared bat, as well as archaeological sites. A letter dated October 16, 2024 was received from New York State Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation indicating that in their opinion, no properties including archaeological and or historic researches listed in or eligible for the New York State and National Register of Historic Places will be impacted by the project. The letter states that it does not address potential environmental impacts. It appears that all site improvements are located in existing paved or gravel areas. Applicant to confirm. Number 21, prior plan iterations submitted have been considered by the planning board and an intent for lead agency was circulated. Board should review with legal counsel to determine if the proposed change to eliminate the auto body repair and instead propose the daycare requires recirculation of the project to involve agencies prior to assuming role as lead agency. Number 22, a public hearing will be required in accordance with section 200-72E4.
So yes, Dave, if you'd like to comment on any of those?
Sure, absolutely. So we provided a C1.1 plan which consolidates the lots and it shows that all is proposed to be one large lot and not subdivided into two. Item number 4, the removal of the flood barriers and proposed fill in a floodplain. Yes, we did remove that. So on the south portion of the building where the flooding would occur, we're going to remove the 2 doors that are there. The building, that's the only point that the building would be vulnerable to flooding, and then we'll provide an exterior wall there to infill that opening up to a sill height or like about 36 inches, and then install windows from that point up. So that would provide protection to the existing building from any potential flooding that may occur at that point.
Pause on that. Dave, does that solve that problem?
Well, if they have, I mean, I guess the flood proofing is going to be addressed during the building permit stage, but I guess you're going to have a barrier there, a water barrier.
Yeah, what we'll do is...
Well, so the barrier, though, if I'm understanding you, Dave, the barrier is just removing the doors.
No.
No, we're going to infill. If you were to remove the door behind you,
Yeah.
I'm going to infill the bottom portion with concrete or CMU so that to not allow any water to come into the building. And then what we do is you could waterproof the outside of it with parging or something of that nature to protect the inside of the building. Then the upper portion of that door would be a window.
Okay, so how high up would that parging?
I would bring it up to 36 inches.
Okay.
And we plan to demonstrate that in conjunction with one of the other comments that's coming up.
Excuse me, what is the mean water level in a 100-year flood in that area?
I'm not sure.
I think it's a lot more than 36 inches above that, above the outside. What's there now?
Okay.
I've seen water well above those doors,
Above the top of the door?
well above the seal of the
The bottom
The
sill
bottom.
of the door.
If the doors,
Yeah.
Joe, so if the doors, so to your point, if the doors are removed
right?
and it's a wall 36 inches high. Are you saying it goes above that?
I think it goes above that. I've seen it above that.
We'll see, I guess there's
I'm just
a
saying,
record somewhere.
again,
Okay.
asking the question,
You're asking,
what is
right.
the 100-year
Okay, so we,
water level for that area when it floods?
okay, a valid point. You know, we'll determine that. I really don't have it offhand, but we'll determine that
Understand.
and put it, put it there and show the elevation.
David wants it.
That would also, be in conjunction with the development there that is subject to a flood permit under the code, which is issued by
Right.
the building department.
Exactly, but we certainly want to know what it is.
Right, so it's a secondary look at it.
So that would be part and parcel of that permit.
Yeah, I mean, if
No,
you
it's a
look,
good point.
36 inches may not be enough. I don't think it is.
so, I mean, looking at the elevations on the map, they show the flood elevations from the FEMA mapping, and on that side of the building, it varies from one corner to the other. But it looks like it's in the range of 591 to 592 at the corner, and the first floor elevation is 589. So, 2 to 3 feet, somewhere in that range.
Valid point. All right, we'll raise it up to 4 feet. Okay, let's continue paragraph 5 or point number 5. Our parking calculations do show 34, but 8 of those are for the furniture store. 26 of them are for the employees associated with the daycare center. So we didn't intend for all 36 to be a part of the daycare only. The plan indicates that a note that children will be dropped off by bus only. This will be the case. We're not making provisions, or they're not making provisions for parents to drop off their children and stay there. If they were to, they would drop off their child and leave. But for the most part, would be mini buses as we propose to bring in children there. Because there will be approximately 122 children once the place is maximized. Not immediately. It's going to be a progression or generation, of the daycare as it becomes more and more popular. So what we're doing right now is designing for the maximum usage, which would be the 122 children.
How many, I'm sorry, Dave, how many buses at the same time will be doing drop-offs?
I saw that as one of the comments for queuing back onto the street. We'll have to provide, I don't have that. We'll get a number of occupants per bus divided by 120, or vice versa. Take that number, have 120 divided by it, and then that'll determine the amount of buses. But for argument's sake, let's just say 10. Well, I was going to say 10 children.
Are they the big school buses?
No,
or
the small mini ones.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
think like a 40 passenger, like a,
Yeah.
big, okay.
No, on C4, that's on C4. We show the diagram of the bus proposed. It's the minibus, and again, for the purpose of this discussion, let's say 10 children on a bus, so 12 buses would come in at, actually, the hours of operation would be approximately from 9:30 to 4. I was just given that by the owner. So you'd figure 12 buses coming in around 9 to 9:30, 12, and then leaving, and then 12 buses coming in around 4 o'clock, and then leaving again. And we could put that in the narrative.
Doesn't that have the potential to significantly disrupt traffic there at the light?
It's a,
Well,
it's a
we've
tough
been-
left turn for sure. I would
So
say.
the problem, we've asked for, we haven't not yet received, but we've asked many times for a traffic study. That's what we're looking for too. The other thing I'm more concerned with though is you approve this with buses, very few daycares work that way.
Yeah.
Very few. And even with buses, you have parents, kids miss the bus, didn't get to the bus. The nanny takes them, the mom takes them. You got more vehicles than that, plus the light. And I know Ted, who's running on all that right now, he didn't have a report to us because he had some issues going on, but I know he ran the numbers, and it's 94 trips, at AM peak hours on the ITE. and 95 in the PM hours, which definitely presents an issue for the light, for sure.
Not just the light, I think.
Well, meaning-
We'll see what it
meaning-
says, but that whole area,
Yeah, traffic-wise, so that's an issue.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, and I think you know this, Dave, we won't move forward without a traffic study after this. Like, that's the next thing that we have to see is absolutely a traffic study.
And as if by magic, we are working with Creighton Manning, Ken Wurtson, and we did, to be, full disclosure, we did receive a draft. It was right before the meeting, so I did not get to print it out. I did not get to look. So, we will take a look at it and, of course, submit it for review and approval. But we are, to put the board's mind at ease, we are working with a traffic consultant, and I would imagine at the next submission we'll have something for you to review.
Yeah, and the other thing, keep in mind, and like this is what we're gonna be discussing too, is very few people would run a daycare with busing, right? So you prove that, very few after that would have busing taking kids there. You agree to that, for sure.
Oh, well, everything is specialized and unique. I mean, the board knows I did Luke and Friends, right around the corner. That was a 3-phase progression of how they grew. So the converse could be true there. I mean, we only designed for parent drop-off. What if they started using minibuses? So I mean, so the
Now, if you reverse that.
Yeah, but that was specialized for, and the board accepted it at that time. This project will be specialized toward the use of minibuses.
Luke and Friends in the Presbyterian Church,
Yeah, but there's a different, hold on one second, Fred.
they've got a better traffic flow there too.
Right, but there's a difference going from drop-off parents to buses. If it's approved for drop-offs, buses would be easy, as long as you have the movement, the flow,
Well,
right? But going from buses to individual parents coming, that's a completely different number.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Do you think it would be a different scenario because of the amount of cars going in?
Traffic, sure.
Okay, not for parking. So
Well,
if we,
Well, it wouldn't
No,
be
no,
parking, because you have to
because
go, you have
parents
to
are
park
gonna
to go
park,
in, right?
walk their kid in.
actually, that's why I brought it up. That's not the case. According to New York State, the parents don't walk the kids in. The operators have to meet the kids outside, and they bring them in. And I
So when they meet the
happen
kids-
to know
so
that.
Just pause for a second.
Yeah.
When they meet the kids outside, they meet them where?
At the drop-off.
So you have cars piling up then for a drop-off,
Okay, well, that's,
which means
Yeah.
in the numbers of cars coming out that very short area, you're gonna be on the road.
okay, so I'm glad to talk that out with you. So we're more concerned about the queuing of the cars on the property, more so than any,
Concerned about the queuing of the cars on the street.
the two, I think in reality, the two might be related, so,
Definitely
okay.
related.
All right,
Definitely
so,
related.
okay, so let's talk, all right, so we'll have conversations with Ken about queuing of the cars and, as a concern, rather than the parking of the cars on the site. I'm good with that. I think it involves or requires a little more thought.
Sure.
Jeff, just to agree with your point, if you look at St. Paul's, if you look at the lineup of those cars through that parking lot, there's at least 30 cars at 9 o'clock. And he's right, be it teachers, attendants,
They come out and meet.
they come out, they meet every
Sure.
car. It takes at least a half hour to get through those cars, if not longer.
and that's a much better setup.
I'm sorry.
It's also a much better setup on that road.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah,
movement.
because they have a
They have
parking
a whole
lot,
I mean,
they
it's
have that whole
still,
parking
it's still a
lot.
lot longer, but it's,
No.
Walk your kid in.
I walk my kid in.
It's a very
The
good
parents
setup,
will do that.
I
Yeah.
think.
This would not-
Very good.
but that's still road, right?
Still road.
Yeah, so that's not,
They never
But
meet me out.
To Jeff's point, you get 10 cars, you're on the
Yeah,
road,
you're back at the light or 17 Ave, yeah.
okay?
Yeah. All right,
Where
well, listen,
St.
we gotta see, we gotta
Paul's
see.
has
the
that
site.
long parking lot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's 30 cars in a line.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, So,
Okay, continue.
so anyway, Dave, you hear the concern.
I hear the concern. We need a Superman kind of approach to this one.
Just drop them off. Drone drop.
Josh, no, I'm referring to
Drop
Josh
off
Allen,
zone.
yeah, but anyway, okay. All right, that went over, that didn't go over too well. Okay, item 6, providing a narrative, I see that, absolutely, we'll provide additional narrative. Item number 7, yeah, I'm not sure how everybody got clockwise. We show arrows going, counterclockwise around the circle.
It's the turning movement. You show the turning motion for the vehicle.
It's going back.
and
It's going, right.
If you look at the direction of the
Well, it's not
vehicle-
going backwards, Wayne.
Well, it's going reverse than what you're saying.
No, well,
Here,
let's,
if you wanna see.
you need a podium. I think I might include that in the design.
Mike provides his own pointer.
It's right here.
Provide a podium.
What's that?
Mike provides his own pointer, you should bring a podium for yourself.
We got a
Um,
Oh, here we go.
Here, you want this?
Would you like the pointer?
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
No podium, but we got a pointer.
Look at this. So, here's an arrow, right there, coming in counterclockwise, and then we show that arrow going out.
But look,
So-
the
so-
wheels are in the car, Dave.
So where are they getting off?
So, oh, come on.
Where are they getting
I mean,
off?
we show the arrow, I mean, come
So
on.
Dave, where are they getting off the bus? Show, from what you just did, where do they disembark?
Right here.
And if they're disembarking, this on the way in then,
Oh, it has to be in the way.
right, which makes the,
Yeah, sure, it has
Means
to
the
be.
loop is backwards.
right,
Yeah, if you look at the wheels of the vehicle, right, the wheels are in the
We
front
don't
and
look at the
section
way the
middle.
wheels go round and round and round.
That's why the
Okay,
question
but
came up.
somebody in my office is gonna get a beating, this should have been the other way, but we are definitely intending this
Okay.
counterclockwise.
okay.
Okay.
I would also recommend if you're going to show a turning maneuverability, if you're showing a drop off with the bus, that the maneuverability effect show the drop off. That shows the bus going in and out, but does not show the bus, how it interacts with the building itself.
Or other
Quite
cars.
close. We are, obviously, we need to develop the architectural floor plan, at which we got permission to do so. So, we'll develop an architectural floor plan which will show the drop off and its relationship to the road and things like that. So, a point well taken, we'll get that developed. We're at 8. Can we continue on, or
Yeah.
we're good with this? Okay. Number 8, the area disturbance of the playground area. Yeah, I mean, we have the playground's 110 or 112 by 112 feet, and the grade is less than 2 feet across there, and a lot of it's grass. So, I mean, we're not proposing any grading of it. However, the Department of State may require some rubberized mats in the portions for the smaller children, so we'll have to work that out. But the grade is pretty, I think it's less than 1/8 of an inch per foot, so I think we're in good shape. Number 9, there exists an overhead door. Yes, okay, so that overhead door, drop off, everything we'll deal with in an architectural plan and show that to you. 10, we agree.
David, what's the overhead door? Is it the garage door you're talking about?
Yeah,
On the side of the, right.
over here.
So let me ask you a question related to that. The furniture store, where's the drop off gonna be?
Well, the furniture store, they bring everything in through the front.
Right, so those trucks, big trucks, good,
Have you driven by there at all?
I live across the street.
I mean, it's pretty empty most of the
No,
time.
it's not.
I,
No, it's absolutely not. It's not. So the unloading on that top part,
over here.
yes, is where they're unloading the very big trucks of furniture. How's that gonna interact with what's going on?
We'll have to schedule times, that can't interfere with the delivery or the drop-off and the pickup. So the drop-off and pickup is pretty set in stone. I mean, they have to start at 9:30, so you're gonna be, for argument's sake, from 9 to 9:30, and then getting out. And then the end of the day is at 4, so 3:30 to 4 or 4:15. Let's be, reasonable. They can't have any deliveries during that time. And we'll have to put a note on the plan showing that.
Saying so.
Yeah. I gotta get my point. I actually have a laser pointer, so. We are, I think, 11 parking loading shall be screened visually from adjoining properties. The screening plan, we show landscaping, we show trees along here. I'm not sure, I mean, we can enhance that a little more. I mean, it's sufficient enough. They're 8 feet high. They have a good spread to deciduous, per the landscaping plan. We could, I mean, for argument's sake, we could do an alternate just to provide more of a barrier from Route 17M to this area. I don't think that'll be a problem. We'll talk about it with the owner.
And what would screen the play area, the outdoor play area?
Well, okay, that's a good point. We have to fence this in, per New York State requirements. So, I mean, their requirements are functional. The village might, the board might want to weigh in on what they think an appropriate fencing would be. Green slats.
Even before that, they have to transgress the parking lot.
Yes.
So the kids are walking across a parking lot.
Well, okay, what will happen is, as we develop the site plan, New York State allows you to do a crosswalk. So it's painted, it's on the street, it has a bollard on each side, and that is a viable option or way of taking children from here to here. I don't know if it's gonna be here or here or here, but we will have a designated crosswalk that will be used. And an advantage to that is it would not be in the way of vehicular traffic moving.
Who's parked in those spots?
The employees.
You don't want the kids walking through by the cars, right? Where the hedges. So there's not a door there now,
So
then, is there?
when you say the employees of the daycare
Of the daycare only.
only,
And we have an approved detail by New York State. We can show that on the next submission.
So Dave, where are the doors that are gonna get blocked in on that side? So the parking lot side, it's okay to have a door over there though?
Yes, because if the floodway's sloping up this way.
Okay.
Along this portion of the site.
you're talking about the flooding
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, because if you're gonna close up some doors, and then you're gonna make another door there, and then you're kind of.
I agree with you, Keith, but, so anyway, the vulnerability aspect of the building's over here.
It's on that side.
It's not here.
So the median floodplain isn't the same over there as it is
On the far side, no, on the
the
near
closer
side.
side to the.
South side.
To 17M.
Yeah, okay.
So that's
That makes sense.
17M and Stage Road.
Stage, okay.
Right there, that's
So
the
then,
bottleneck.
not that, it's our bailiwick here, but, so that would mean you're closing the doors on 2 sides. You're
One
getting rid of
side.
them. Well, there's doors to the parking lot side too right now.
Here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you want me to project into the future? Yeah, the architectural plans are gonna show entrance doors here and over here for the means of egress.
So there's gonna be into the parking lot, there's gonna be
Into
egress.
the employee here, yes.
And so the flooding, just so you know, does occur all the way up to that.
Well, we'll go with the floodplain, we'll have to address that.
And not regularly, but it does
Mhm.
in the most significant rainfalls.
Yeah, we'll have to reach a balance on that, because I definitely do need doors on this side,
Right.
for egress and to
Egress,
get,
right.
and to get to the play
Right.
area. So, let me talk about that a little further with the owner.
Okay.
Is the play area gonna be elevated? Are you gonna
No.
raise that at all? No.
Well, you see, no, for the purpose of this discussion, we're gonna leave it at grade. But, let's see what we need to do with the floodplain in that and look
Bring
at
a
the
lot of
options.
boots to daycare, you know.
Right, that-
Well,
They
if
may
it,
close the school down if it's.
yeah, I mean, in real terms, if it rains, the kids are not gonna be out. If it snows, they're not gonna be out. If it's flooded, they're not gonna be out. And so, we have to,
If it's flooding, I don't think the school will be able to.
You can teach
right,
swimming.
yeah, so, there you go.
See what they wanna do with the screening as well for that area, if it's gonna be just chain link with the slats, or is it gonna be like a nice wood, or, what the
Yeah, that's what
proposed
he was
idea
talking
is.
Which one?
That's what he was talking about, for the play area?
For the play area, yeah.
We have to further develop that.
Gotcha.
Um, Okay. Lighting, 15 and 16. Our lighting plan, we show zeros along the property line. So I wasn't sure about it.
The issue with the lighting is that the code requires that that fixtures be downcast.
Yeah.
Not projected flood lighting, and I know those are existing fixtures.
Correct.
But they're not compliant, so the question is, there's two things for lighting, that's one question is, does the board feel that as part of the improvements to the site, that the lighting should be brought into compliance with
Dark sky, yeah,
friendly
dark sky,
fixtures?
yeah.
And the other was that the turnaround area, there's no illumination provided for the turnaround area, so, again,
That is true. We do demonstrate on the plan that the existing lighting does not impact the surrounding properties. In fact, it's zero for quite a bit. The illumination level is zero for quite a while before it bleeds on, or the potential of it going onto another property. So, I would ask the board to consider that, allowing the remaining fixtures. However, regarding the light fixture for the turnaround that we did not propose, that's something that we could look into. Again, it's close, to the residential lot. I'm gonna guess we might want to have something, to this end, with dark sky and with a canopy, coming this way, so it does not impact that property line. Okay, 17 signage. Believe it or not, yes, we will. We'd like to have a building-mounted sign and a monument sign. And so we'll show that on the plans and show compliancy with the zoning code for that, with the calculations associated with it.
Dave, did we skip over 11? We're talking about the screening.
No, I brought that up with the landscaping that we already show here. Okay. And then, if I said it as a progression, maybe we can alternate them just to provide more of a barrier as opposed to straight along. 18, we agree. 19, architectural review. Yes, we understand. Just by the nature of the daycare being in the lower level, we have to introduce windows for daylight and for ventilate. Well, not so much ventilation, but daylight. So it will impact the elevations definitely on this side, and this side. So we are poised to prepare architectural plans to show that. 20, endangered species. So the letter's good.
the letter addresses archaeological, historic resources, it doesn't address environmental, and what I pointed out in the letter was my understanding that all the site improvements are located in existing paved or gravel areas, and asked the applicant to confirm.
Yeah, we do. And then 21, you know, in some aspects, the impact on the project is less with the daycare, as far as the impact on the building versus what we had originally proposed for vehicle maintenance. However, you know, I do understand that vehicular traffic might be a little bit of a concern. We would hope that since you are already declared yourselves the intent to be lead agency, maybe we can continue with that process so that the public hearing could be scheduled. But you know, we like to hear from Elizabeth on that.
I think one of the big things, David, I don't want to move forward at all until we have a traffic study. I think everything stops dead until then. Because that's going to be the critical thing for seeker. It's going to be a critical thing for the neighborhood. It's going to be a critical thing for busing versus parents.
Well, you know, it's a valid point. As I mentioned, we did receive a report that I did not get to review. Okay. Would it be agreeable with the board if we could submit that report well in advance of your next formal meeting? And if it's agreeable, then maybe you could review it or have the consultants review it. Then at the formal meeting, if everybody at least knows what's being proposed, we could schedule the public hearing at that time.
Well, I'm gonna just, let's just take one step back.
Okay.
At this point, our traffic consultant has not even seen this project, has not had any materials on this project. And we do have a submission date, and in fairness to Kimberly Horn, they need adequate time to review it. So, there's a reason we have those timeframes. If it was a small change to an existing report that Kimberly Horn had already reviewed and it was a cleanup item, I might feel differently, but you're asking them to review an entire report, which you yourself have not reviewed. With respect to the seeker process, we did declare our intent to be lead agency and circulate the revised EAF on October 22nd, 2024. Given the significant change, we will need to recirculate. If anything, we can authorize at your next meeting, we can authorize Terry to coordinate with me to do that circulation, but that is the extent that I think you can do. And then if I may, and I think you also have to let the county see it as well, because I think there's enough changes here that the county's gonna wanna see it, particularly in light of some of their other prior comments. So I'll just run through my comments. I've been trying to take notes so I don't repeat Dave's, but I'm probably gonna repeat a couple. Revised plan eliminates the existing loading bay door. The applicant to address loading of the furniture store and the potential impact on site circulation. For 200-44I, loading spaces are to be located more than 200 feet from residential district boundary. Your building inspector had previously issued a determination that the existing loading bay was a pre-existing non-conforming use and could remain. We're now altering it. We may need a new determination from Jim. Again, parking and loading areas to be screened. There are two provisions that I draw the applicant's attention to, 200-44J and 200-45J. One is the screening of adjoining lots, and one is landscaping within a parking lot in excess of five spaces. Excuse me. We talked about architectural review. This is a longer term. The planning board may wish to evaluate thresholds in the event of a change in use that would have triggered amended site plan review. Often for uses that have tenants in it. What is a simple, hey, you just need a building permit versus what triggers site plan, but that is way down the road for this purpose. We've already talked about flood. Since the study is already in the works, I was going to offer to allow you to consider developing a scope for confirmation by the traffic engineer before undertaking such work, but you've already undertaken the work. As noted by Engineer Higgins, applicant to address timing and number of bus trips so that a traffic study can appropriately evaluate the impact, particularly at the state road and Route 17 and traffic light. Site maneuverability, again, it's noted that the proposed
travel on the opposite side of the lane from what is typically driven in the United States. It does not demonstrate how buses would drop off children. The movement also doesn't account for buses coming south on State Road or for truck vehicles used in connection with the furniture retail store. Planning board to evaluate the adequacy of proposed landscaping. We talked about the limit of disturbance on the playground. And then, I note, and I typo there, I note engineer Higgins' comment regarding the parking calculation, his comment number 5, and repeat the same. So at this point, I think the action that's available to the board, should it wish to do, is to direct the recirculation of the EA and notice of intent, reflecting the amended application, but then at this point, we're pretty much in a holding pattern until we have a future submission.
Okay. So we can't do anything anyway till the regular meeting, so.
Yeah, Terry can circulate now, we haven't yet.
Yeah?
It wasn't checked in.
I can Terry can circulate it.
Okay, so recirculate that.
So then there would not be any action on the 28th, so there would not, an appearance would not be required on the 28th.
Thank you for doing a recirculation. I mean, since it's necessary, we appreciate it. I have one more comment apparently I missed. So, number 11. In fact, what sparked my interest is just what Elizabeth has said. 200-44.J, parking lots and loading spaces shall be screened visually from joining, number 12. 45J, parking lots shall devote 10% of the total required parking area to landscaping. Does that include grass?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, read the section,
Yeah.
what it includes, but
Okay.
yeah, there needs to be some form of.
Green.
Green we can do. Okay.
Read the section as to what it's looking for and then we'll evaluate.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's good to see everybody in the beginning of the new year. We'll
Happy
see you at
New
the
Year.
next meeting. Thank you, everyone. You too.
Okay.
So next up, so 581 Route 17M.
They, by email, the applicant requested an adjournment.
Oh, okay,
581.
yeah, so, okay, great,
And I copied both you, Mr. Chair, and Terry on that.
yeah, okay. Yeah, appreciate that, thank you. 123, 125 Elm Street.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Michael Morgante, representing this application. So from the last time we were here, this is a very good microphone, by the way. I'd like to use it again in the future. We had some good discussions, I think the board and the applicant regarding this application, and we made some, I think, good revisions to the plans, resubmitted. Apparently, I read Dave's and Elizabeth's comments letters. There was nothing significant, I think, associated with them. There was 1 or 2 minor comments that we take no exception to. So I think we're here tonight to just have a further discussion with the board. I think to discuss if the board's content with what they see, and to, I guess, potentially finish authorizing the public hearing for the 28th for this particular project.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, we can go through them, but as Mike just indicated, I haven't looking at notes. I had kind of classified generally as minor comments, but we can go through them. First comment just kind of goes through the various variances that will be required for the application. So unless you want to go through them one at a time, I'll skip the first comment.
Let's continue the same way.
You want me to read through the first comment?
I'm just checking it now. Yeah, go ahead and do that, Dave.
Okay, sure. Comment number 1, as noted in the bulk table, the following variances are required. motor vehicle shop within 200 feet of a recreational area, which is under section 200-51N. The lot size, the front yard setback, the rear yard setback, increase of non-conforming bulk under section 200-64A and B, storage of vehicles within any required yard, and storage of more than 5 licensed vehicles for a period of more than 48 hours. Number 2, the plan shows a total of 23 parking spaces required, while only 21 spaces are provided, inclusive of the 2 ADA parking spaces. The planning board previously reviewed the plan and agreed that as proposed, the plan provides adequate parking given that additional parking is available via a license agreement within the lease area, and that should the lease license expire or be voided, 2 additional spaces could be arranged on the subject property in the area where the dumpster enclosure is shown. Okay. Number 3, the zoning code permits off-street parking to be located on a separate lot within 500 feet of the subject property with an easement. The applicant has provided a parking license agreement. While we defer to the planning board's legal counsel for review of the license agreement, we would recommend that it include a meets and bounds description of the license area. And I know, Mike, you had said that that would be provided at some point.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll certainly provide that as a part of the final documents for the planning board's review.
Number 4, as noted on the plan, it is proposed to consolidate tax lots 207-1-2 and 207-1-3 into a single lot. Consolidation of the lots by filing in the county clerk's office should be a condition of any approval granted by the planning board. Number 5, the previously proposed 6-foot-high vinyl fence along the rear property line has been eliminated from the plan. The applicant advises that a recent site meeting with the county resulted in the county preferring to have the existing fence remain in lieu of the new fence, and that correspondence confirming the acceptability by the county is forthcoming. Number 6, the submitted site plan includes a landscaping plan prepared by Karen Arendt, licensed landscape architect. The proposed landscaping is limited to 14 shrubs and 1 tree in the front of the auto repair shop. Existing trees located between the property and the heritage trail have been shown on sheet 2 of 5. Landscaping is subject to section 200-44J and 200-45J. The planning board should review the adequacy of the proposed landscape. Number 7, the plan proposes a chain link fence with privacy slats along 3 sides of the leased vehicle parking area, including along Elm Street. The plan proposes the existing chain link without privacy slats along the south side, which is adjacent to tax lot 207-2-8, to remain. During a prior planning board meeting, it was discussed that the fence along Elm Street would not include privacy slats for security purposes. Applicant to discuss with the board. Number 8, the plan no longer proposes to remove a portion of the existing fence on the west side of the property. However, the fence is shown on the plan, which conflicts with the proposed vehicle storage on the site. The layout of the vehicle storage should be revised and the count should be updated as required, or the fence should be removed. Number 9, the applicant has provided an expanded Part 3 EAF to address the items reviewed by the planning board and identified in the Part 2 EAF as moderate to large impacts. The planning board should consider the responses and make a determination of significance for secret.
So I think one of the bigger, number 5, Mike, is we have not received anything, to my knowledge, from the county verifying what you had said in the last several meetings.
Correct. I would actually defer to Liz. Have you had any email correspondence with the county at all? Because I thought you were going to check on that.
I did check. I
Yes.
spoke with Stephanie. I'm not sure if I had an email back and forth with Ms. Midler. I then got a email this afternoon from the applicant's attorney, Marcella Sorigliano. Stephanie had indicated she was aware of the discussions and the county has yet to approve the agreement. The agreement that was presented to us was the applicant's draft, which is fine, but it was not the county's draft. Mr. Sorigliano, and I've worked with him, so I take him at his word as an officer of the court that things have progressed, but instead they're still waiting formal county approval for that.
So right now, there's no approval.
No, not from the county.
Okay. So
That's correct. We're still working with them, waiting to get documentation back.
okay. So I thought we had a draft that they approved. Did I misunderstand that last meeting?
They had their attorney draft it, which is not uncommon. The applicant's attorney draft and had
Right.
submitted it to the county for approval. The county, because it has to go through the legislature, so.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. I thought last time it was just a formality. So it's not a formality. They haven't made a decision.
They haven't made a decision.
Correct.
Okay.
They already made
met with the county attorney and I met with the park commissioner twice. And I grabbed the letter after they told me that go ahead because they are confirming they're going to do it. The county already gave Marcello their comments back.
That may be fine, and, you know, I also know Ms. Midler, but she is, you know, in the county attorney's office, she can't bind the county, right? It has to go through the proper channels and authority. That would be like me drafting an agreement and says the village says, okay, it's not okay until the village board approves it. It's the equivalent of that.
Yep.
So,
I don't think it has to go to the county legislator.
I'm not sure, but she doesn't have the authority on her own to approve it.
It's Rick Oldham who has to approve. I think so, yeah. This was, I was told, so by Rick, so.
Your own attorney told me it wasn't approved yet. I have that email from today.
Okay.
The final draft is not approved, but they gave us the
It sounds like it's heading in the right direction, but it has not been fully finalized at this time. I think I could summarize it that way.
Bottom line is though, we have nothing. We don't know.
Warm and fuzzy from the county, which is great. I call it my, you know, I call it my warm and fuzzy, where
Right.
we get an informal, yeah, sure, that's not a problem.
Right.
We just haven't solidified the warm and fuzzy. So when we solidify the warm and fuzzy, we can say. So, when Stephanie tells me it's approved, it's approved.
Right. Okay.
The only other comments I thought we would discuss tonight, I guess one of the comments was, and of course, any of the comments the board wants to discuss, I'm glad to. But number 7, so when we had originally discussed putting the privacy slats in, the applicant went ahead and did so in haste. They put the privacy slats in, so the slats are in at this time. Subsequent to that, we reversed the uses of the parking lots. We were going to do employee parking on that adjacent lot for Frontier, right? And now we may be using it for vehicle storage. So it might be beneficial actually to leave the slats there to protect any kind of a view from any vehicles that are being stored actually in that area at this time.
So, just so I'm clear.
Yes.
So my understanding of the discussion of the parking, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same wavelength
Sure.
here, is that the leased area was going to be for parking. We went through the exercise, hey, can you get the space, can you just demonstrate you can get the spaces on the site, should you lose the leased parking? So now we have vehicle storage both on site and across the street. So now that's even, so we were talking 24-ish vehicles of vehicle storage, and now we're talking across the street is also going to be vehicle storage?
So yes, I don't know how much of it'll be used, but that is the idea. Yeah, I mean, that's why I labeled it as such on the plans.
Yeah, that wasn't presented that way.
That's not my understanding. I don't know about the rest of the board.
That's what we're looking to do, right?
Last time it was just employee across the street.
Yeah, so our understanding was, what we were saying we would approve is the employee parking across the street. Vehicle parking, same side. Storage, right? On this side of the street. So.
On site.
Because the exercise was not necessarily to create more parking opportunities. The exercise was to show what happens if Frontier, who owns that lot,
Right.
ever
Bails
exercise
out.
their notice of
Exactly.
termination, which they have the right to do.
Then where do the employees park?
Where do we put the parking? It was almost like a land bank exercise. We discussed
Right.
having it almost like a land bank
Exactly.
exercise to show that the spots could be, it was not intended to be the development of even more storage, because now you're gonna go to the ZBA and it's not only, because I think the standard is what, 5 vehicles more than 48 hours, you're gonna go from 5 to 24. That, how many spots? It was almost 25 spots, so now you're talking almost 50, the potential for 50 stored vehicles.
Excuse me if that was miscommunicated. When we went through the exercise of realizing we could get that many parking spaces on site, it almost obviates the need for the parking across the street at this point. I think we would use it as an overflow potentially for storage of vehicles on the subject site. That's kind of what we were thinking when I put that plan together, not realizing we could accomplish all that.
I just don't think that was presented to us.
It may not, somehow that might have gotten lost in translation, or we just forgot to discuss the actual vehicle storage portion across the street. Because I did change the notation. It was there for a couple of different submissions at this point. But maybe it just wasn't clearly discussed. We can make the site function almost on its own right now without the need for that vehicle storage space or employee parking, whatever we want to call it, across the street. We entered into a lease agreement already with Frontier that the property is being utilized. At least it's being paid for, whether or not it's utilized or not. So the thought was to continue to have the ability to use it, but to only use it at this point for any potential overflow of additional vehicles that need repair to be stored on that site. If we can get, like if I'm showing the board that we can get all the on-site employee parking, it makes no sense for us to put the employee parking into the area across the street. I mean, I don't see the reason or need for it.
It wasn't, licensed parking area should be for the parking of staff vehicles only, not vehicles under repair, and that was the problem.
Which is why I'm bringing it up now, yeah.
Right, so, I mean, to me, to park the vehicles across the street, and then you have the mitigation again for fluids and oils and all that, and, you know, I don't know. I haven't thought about it at all, but I was just thinking it was employees across the street, so.
Is there gonna be, do you have a certain area on that section over there, on the auxiliary parking that's gonna be for storage? Or it could just be anywhere?
At this time, I'm showing it as the entire area. I haven't given it any thought if we wanted to section anything off. How many spaces can you bring the site plan up?
And how many spaces are on the current, on this side, without the Verizon?
I believe we have 21 now.
On this side?
Correct.
On site?
It's 21 or 22, and we need
Auxiliary
24.
Parking is how much?
We have a lot.
That's
what I mean, like, so now
Which page is
vehicles
one?
can start piling up over there and piling up and piling up.
So you can zoom in right there. A little bit more so you can see the numbers. I think we have, it looks like 13 and 12, so there's 25 spaces on that side of the street. And that was to meet the requirement of 24 employee parking spaces in total. But when we went through and ran through the exercise of trying to find spaces on site, we were able to come up with so we have 23, well, I'm sorry, we have 21 with 2 of them being ADA spaces. So we're real close, and that's what, maybe I was under the misunderstanding. We were so close to meeting the 24 on this side that it seemed to me that the board was okay with potentially losing 1 or 2 spaces due to having site features like a dumpster that we needed to place.
Right, we said 2 spaces less, 20 required, 2 spaces less was what we.
And that discussion, I don't think is altered. Again, I think.
Right.
I think the issue is, again, we were discussing having the spaces, how much could you fit on this side of the street versus that side of the street? Not to expand the use, because if you now have 25, the ability to store 25 more vehicles, that effectively doubles the use.
Right. Yeah, and that's something we'd have to discuss, because that's not been discussed at all.
And we specifically wanted it not screened so that when the person
Right.
enters the building, they could see
Security.
the proverbial boogeyman.
Right.
I agree with that. I agree with the remove, but I thought if, under my misunderstanding, if we were going to leave it as vehicle storage, you would want it screened at that point. So either way, there is screening there. If it becomes employee parking, we'll remove it. If for some reason we're permitted to leave it as vehicle storage, we can talk about whether or not it stays or it goes at that time as well. But I think the bigger thing to think or talk about here is whether or not we're utilizing the space across the street for additional vehicle storage area or not. And I think that we can potentially put restrictions on it if this is something the board's comfortable with. We would not be able to store vehicles in a significant state of disrepair across the street. In other words, not drivable, where they could be leaking oils and fuels and things of this nature. That would be just for minor collateral damage type of repairs, fenders, bumpers, things of that nature. But vehicles that are drivable.
Right, the problem with that, Mike, is it's unenforceable.
Sounds good, yeah.
It's a wonderful thought, so, but it's totally unenforceable, because nobody's gonna be, be able to tell, is that a drivable vehicle or not?
Point taken.
So. Yeah, I mean,
I guess I question, what's the realistic need based on the size of the building and the amount of operation for vehicle storage? How many cars can we physically be working on?
right.
And I appreciate there's some mechanics in storage and all that, but how many is it?
Yeah. And that I'm not sure. I mean,
I think so. The code says that if there's cars waiting for appraisal or for assurance, they can stay up to 60 days.
It can, but
For
there's a
insurance.
limitation. There's five cars.
5 cars is only the smashed. I think so. It's like it's
You
two
still have
different
to go
things.
to I mean, you're going to the ZBA anyway.
Yeah, I'm going
But
anyway with the but
There's a huge difference between vehicle storage for 24 vehicles and vehicle storage for 48, 49, whatever the
Right, it's double.
Max. No. I think we're going around in circles right now, but bottom line is, even my notes from Monday's December 9th meeting, I had employee parking across the street, car storage and workable cars close to the building. That's all. That's what we settled on December 9th.
I'm not disputing that. Somehow it must have gotten lost. I would note I did have it on the plans, but somehow it got lost in our discussion. I don't understand or know why, but I am bringing it to light tonight because I started to realize that there might be a potential misunderstanding about this. So that's why when I read Liz's comment and I looked at these notes, I said, wait a second, we better talk about this particular item tonight.
Mike,
Dave, just curious, do you remember any iterations of the plan that included storage across the street?
Well, I wasn't here at the December meeting, so I don't remember that, but, I thought I remember seeing that area labeled as vehicle storage.
It was
several
certain.
months ago.
Last submission.
It was the last submission? Okay. I remember seeing it before, I guess when we did the review.
yeah, but we never talked about it last month.
So, Mike, what plan are you thinking you put that on?
Oh, it's on this plan right here.
This is the most recent?
So I can tell you that we met out at the site middle end of October, right? So middle end of October is when we started slicing and dicing to see what we can get inside the site. So there's a very good chance for the November meeting that was also labeled as vehicle storage. 100% it is for the December meeting. And
For December.
for this,
Are we looking at the December one or January?
if we can take a look at the.
Yeah, what's the date on this plan?
Scroll to the end of the sheet.
I don't have any discussion on
I have a printed set here, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the December.
in November.
Okay.
No discussion is.
Yep, that's correct.
At all.
Is it on that one, Dave?
I printed the plan set out, and it was, December 10th.
I can check quickly, but I'm pretty sure for the November meeting, we had that shown as well.
Right, so,
The map date 10/23, it's on there.
Yeah, so I know for at least 2 rounds of submittals, I've shown that labeled as vehicle storage. I'm not springing that on the board tonight.
no, I'm not saying you are.
yeah.
I'm just saying it never came up as an item of discussion. So even when you were discussing it, that was never discussed.
I think I just didn't talk about it because I was so excited that we got all the spots on the subject site.
And all I'm
You didn't show the vehicle storage on this side of the street either, correct?
No, we did. We showed it on this side here.
Yeah, it's right there.
We're always going to use it.
On the older plan set too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always originally shown, I think, on every submittal. I think at one point you asked me to show the number of cars so that we could determine how many we could actually fit in there.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you didn't, I'm just saying it was never a point of discussion with the board.
Yes, I'm just gonna think back and say that we were so focused on discussing what was going on the actual
Right.
site itself that I don't think,
Yeah.
I think we all just
I think we're.
didn't really, we had tunnel vision on this
Yeah,
and didn't really think or talk about that.
right.
Yeah, a lot of dumpster talk.
Yeah.
A lot of dumpster talk.
So September had them reversed. The meeting that was dated September 25th had the outdoor storage on next to the building, and the area across the street listed as parking.
And then I gave
So Dave, across the street was what kind of parking?
Correct, yeah.
Employee.
Didn't show the actual
That's what we
space.
thought it was. So across the street was employee on September,
In September, yes.
Correct.
and October was the reverse, you're saying?
I can look that one up, I probably have it here. You,
I did put in, when we reviewed the parking license, I have here 10-7, the licensed parking area should be for the parking of staff vehicles, not vehicles under repair. That was my comment.
So the licensed one is across the street. So that was
That
discussed.
was in response, that was in October.
That was a response that they could not put any cars across the street.
Not
Okay.
repair cars.
I have the
So we
same,
did have a discussion apparently.
Well, I had a comment.
Yes.
Whether we discussed it, that's a different story, but I had a comment.
I think we must have, because I'm,
Now, did Mike
I
see
took a
that,
note.
like, was that sent to the?
It's in my comment memo.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Okay, so from October then, we were saying no.
According to Liz's memo, correct. And then, and then we just had tunnel vision and I don't know, we lost track of talking about it.
It's all right, we just have to have them.
I mean, and I'll tell you that here, and I do remember seeing that, and I do remember wanting to discuss it because I do remember seeing it. But again, with the tunnel vision on,
Right, got lost.
I think we just,
Okay,
I just didn't discuss it.
Well, can we just say employee parking only, and I mean, is it necessary? I mean, are we just saying you don't want,
You could also
Storage
label
over
it
there.
as employee overflow parking.
what's that?
The applicant has two choices. It almost sounds like they don't need the easement at this
see, the
point.
problem for me, it comes like a junkyard then.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Right.
that's the biggest
that's
issue.
what it's been.
Right, and
Please keep it on one side.
I just think we keep it, to me,
One
we
side.
keep it the way it was,
Yeah.
one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
'cause
applicant
you
can
have the
either
ability
limit it
to
to
put
overflow
24
employee parking
Right.
extra cars over there.
or not have the license. Now, I had a couple of comments on the license too, so that would.
You wanna throw that in there now?
Well, I can go, did we get through all of those comments?
I think, yeah, I read through them, and Mike, I think, was kind of. going
Yeah,
through
5,
some.
7, and I don't know that this one is as big an issue, but number 8, whoops. The fencing that's along this property line right here, I don't know if the board's had a chance to go take a look at this site. It's worth looking at it at night and during the day. This is actually a pretty heavily vegetated property line. There's a garage here, and there's actually parking spaces right here, and there's a dumpster right there. Right about here where this utility pole is, for maybe a 5 to 10 foot stretch, is the only open area along that property line, not to mention that's a commercial building. So I don't see the need.
Isn't there a home, Mike, on that corner?
Which one?
In the space
Right there,
right there,
right there.
on the corner,
That's it.
down low, right there. There's a home there.
Yeah.
There is?
With the wraparound porch, right?
With wraparound porch, it's got a,
But that's an actual commercial building. It's being utilized as a commercial building. It's a business. It's actually listed as an LLC. I mean, I know it can be a property owner that's in an LLC, but
I think it's a home, I think that's a home.
I think we know for a fact it's commercial. He knows the owner.
You're right, we should look at it.
It's, I mean, look, it's no skin off our back to put slats there, but I don't want to put something for the sake of putting something if it's not
So when you
required.
say commercial building, are you saying it's an LLC, so it could look like a home, but it's an LLC?
I think it's being utilized for business purposes is what I think it's being utilized, not as actually a home.
Well,
At the moment.
what's the business? Do you know what the business is?
I spoke to the building inspector about it, they said that's a business over there.
I believe the building inspector, I'm thinking that was his home at one point.
Maybe.
growing up.
Oh, interesting. That might make sense, yeah, that might be.
That's a home.
So it's a business that I can go to tomorrow then and purchase
So if I
something.
drive by there, it's gonna look like a business?
It looks like a house. I mean, it looks like, I mean, but lots of businesses operate in houses.
You said you know the owner? So what kind of business is it? Oh, just a bit, okay, gotcha. Business.
We can find out more, but I
Yeah, and we can look too.
I would like the board to also just, when you get a chance, if you're driving by at night, go take a look, see what I'm seeing.
Yep.
If you want the slats, we'll stick them in. If you think it's okay,
Okay,
there's no
fair
need
enough.
for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, just to clarify, so you had mentioned comment number 8, I just wanna make sure that you understand, so the portion of the fence that I'm talking about is in the lower right-hand corner of the screen.
Yep.
There,
Yeah. So,
kind of forms a rectangle or trapezoid in the lower right corner of the parking lot.
right here?
Nope, the vehicle storage area.
Oh, yeah,
right
no,
there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. There's two things we gotta talk about, yes. So number one is this, so I'll work with the applicant to see if they wanna relocate that fence, or if we're just gonna exclude the vehicles that I've got shown parked in this area from that particular site.
Now, are you relating this to the easement that we were talking about, or is that a separate?
That's different.
No,
Separate
it's
discussion,
something-
okay.
that's something separate. So we
Okay.
have the landscape for the existing vegetative buffer, and I saw Liz's comments, we take no exception to changing the language in our documents. But also, I just wanted to make sure the board understood that this side was not going to contain privacy slats for the reasons I explained before. If the board wants to.
Because of the heavy vegetation.
There's heavy vegetation, I mean, I don't know what we're screening it from, because it looks better on this side than it does on this side. I'll let you guys be the judge of that.
Yeah, we'll take a look, because very specifically at your request, for sure.
So those are the two things, and then comment number 8, as Dave noted, it's a small oversight, there's a fence here, it's a small line type, I've got some cars shown parked in this area, that we can utilize it, but we can only utilize it either by removing the fence, and if we can't remove the fence and relocate it, then we have to remove some cars from the site plan, that's what I think his comment's stating.
What did we, I know there was an extensive discussion about the dumpster, did we come up with an actual finalized plan for that, or remember, there was 2, and then hurricane, what was the?
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah, we talked about a lot, I remember that.
Yeah, we can stay right here if you want. I think what we talked about was relocating it to a central
Correct.
location that both sites could use.
And losing 2 spots.
Yeah, and we lost only
So
2
you think,
spots.
so one dumpster will be enough for everything?
I think that's all they have right now. So I think
Is it-
so, yeah.
It's not overflowing, or that you've noticed, or?
Otherwise, we'll need more pickup.
But that lets your dump truck get in, get out.
Right.
Correct.
Easier.
Let's it access, I mean, they can get around the whole site now if they need to,
Yeah.
so.
Visually, it's
I mean, I do think, outside of the issue that we're discussing with the overflow parking or vehicle storage area, I think the subject portion of the site's pretty well carved out. I'm pretty happy with it. I think I've met a lot of the boards and consultants' concerns and questions with the redesign, so I think we're in good shape there.
yes.
I'm just gonna go through, I'm gonna try to skip over what, I just emailed Terry, and I'm gonna start by saying, shoot, I forgot about a public hearing, I just emailed you public notice, and public notice, got it about like tomorrow. Alright, so, it's in your email, alright, if we're having a public hearing, I think we're still in sufficient shape to hold the public hearing.
Do we have the addresses as well?
I don't.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Let me just go through.
When are you suggesting the public hearing?
We set it subject to receipt of new submission for the 28th.
For the 28th?
We had that vote at our last
Yes,
meeting.
that was
Yep,
December 9th.
yep.
So Liz, the only thing I'm concerned about on the public meeting and scheduling, I mean, we can always cancel it, but is hearing from the county.
I don't think that is necessary to hear from the county. Because,
Okay.
and the applicant is assuming the risk, because if the county says, nope, we changed our
I get it.
mind, the applicant has to modify. What you can do is, if we don't have that information, you can leave it open.
And the second thing,
But they're gonna have to, you can't, they're assuming the risk by the further they go without the formal approval.
Right, the more risk they take.
Do I have a sneaking suspicion it's gonna show up? Yes, I do.
So then, as it is, what we would present at the public meeting is no parking across the street for the vehicles, it'd be employee only.
Well, the public would see, because of where we are time-wise, the public is going to see this plan. That's not necessarily the plan you approve. We're gonna solicit the public
Right, but
comment.
if you're showing the public the plan that we're not gonna approve, I don't think that's wise to do that to the public. So I want a plan. If I'm going to a public meeting that I'm concerned about, I want the plan that you're gonna do.
I agree.
Yeah.
That would make
Yeah. So if we're saying now, absolutely no,
Bump to our priority.
that's what that would mean.
I think we have a solution.
Okay.
We'll change that to employee overflow parking. I can have the plans probably in here tomorrow.
Okay. Is that good for you guys?
Okay.
just employees.
Let me just get through the rest of,
Yeah, go ahead.
my comments. I did present a number of comments regarding the landscaping easement, which is intended to serve in lieu of our buffering requirements between commercial and residential zoning districts. I just want to be clear, and Mike's already acknowledged it, the purpose of the buffer is to maintain, the purpose of the easement is to maintain the buffer, not to leave the
Right.
area in its natural state. So if the area in it dies off, the grantee has to have the ability to replant.
So I might have missed this, Liz, but are you saying we received the easement or that's?
I have it, their attorney presented me with a
Okay.
draft easement,
Okay.
and I provided my comments. We just beat, the leased parking area to death. I just pointing back, I have not seen an updated document based on my 10-7 comments. I'm sure an updated document can come at the end. I have bold here, but I think we already saw this. I just remember architectural review. But I think we saw materials. I did prepare a draft, and by draft I very much mean draft, negative declaration for consideration. The first thing I did going through my reasons for supporting the determination, I went through the part 2 that we adopted and focused on the questions where we said there might be an impact, might be a moderate to large impact. That will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? So this is where we need to start having discussions. We don't necessarily need to finalize them tonight. I have written here, the applicant submits that the modifications of the site to increase both on-site and off-site parking, provision of curbing will mitigate the increase in intensity of use. Again, it's not what the applicant says, it's what you guys said, so there's discussions there to be had. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Again, the applicant submits that the proposed expansion will result in a new facade, which will be more in character with the neighborhood than the existing building. Proposed curbing will provide better separation between the site and Elm Street. In addition, the applicant has proposed landscaping in front of the building where none exists today. Again, we're gonna wanna have this discussion, so I incorporate your findings. All right, this is my draft, my takeaways, but not necessarily yours.
So Liz, real quick, you said that architectural materials were presented? I don't think so.
I think they're only represented on the plans. I don't believe we've brought in any physical materials yet for this, no.
Okay, well,
That's okay.
you know the drill. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walking? The applicant submits that the expansion is for the purpose of better work efficiency. The vehicle storage area is not increasing in size over the existing conditions. That's really important, so now we're changing the leased area. Applicant submits that the possibility for an increase in traffic will be slight. So again, that's something I want you to think about. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, The site adjoins the Orange County Heritage Trail. The applicant is of the position that the site has operated for several years, so the expansion does not create an adverse impact. The county is, and this is highlighted because it was not confirmed yet, the county has indicated it's willing to grant a license to permit the existing fence which encroaches onto the county lands to remain. I think your EAF had, did we ever ask for cookie shippo letter, so I just have it?
I don't think it was requested, but I can put in a consultation, yeah.
Yeah, that would be, will the proposed action create an hazard to environmental resources or human health? The biggest concern is the potential for automotive fluid to leak and be carried by runoff. The applicant currently uses and proposes to continue to use oil dry cleanup kits for oil spills. All work on vehicles is currently and will continue to be performed solely in the building containing potential vehicle fluids from running off. A note detailing the remediation plan will be put on the site plan as a condition of approval. And we can elaborate on that if we need to. Given the limited disturbance to an already existing use, SWIP is not required, correct?
You're under half an acre.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, yeah.
Sure we are.
All right. This is another finding. You're gonna wanna discuss landscaping. Planning board requires all applicants to maintain landscaping buffers in perpetuity as a condition of site plan approval. In this instance, the applicant has proposed limited landscaping in the vicinity of the building. Due to existing conditions on site, the applicant has proposed a landscaping easement on the adjoining parcel to provide the necessary buffering between the proposed commercial use and adjoining residential use. And then you'll have to make your specific findings.
And I'm not sure it's discussed or finalized our street side.
Correct. So that's just, I'm putting this in so that your brains can all think about this. Endangered species, the site area generally is known to provide habitat for state listed threatened species. The northern long-eared bat, the site contains no trees that would provide suitable habitat, is that correct?
I don't think the site has any trees.
Okay.
Not very many.
Trees, there's no bat habitat.
We're not, I can say this, we're not cutting any trees, that I know for sure, for certain.
You'll want to insert a discussion regarding lighting. I did not insert one yet, because I know there was still discussions we had about lighting. Applicant has proposed to utilize on-site parking and this is parking, I'm sorry, I jumped on you. The applicant has proposed to utilize on-site parking as well as off-site parking by virtue of a license agreement with the owner of SBL 2072-9, Frontier Communications, which is located across the street from the subject site. The planning board required the applicant to demonstrate the applicant could achieve sufficient on-site parking in the event the license agreement for the off-site parking was ever terminated. With respect to the storage of vehicles for the auto repair shop, the applicant has provided space for approximately 26 cars, I said 24 earlier, I meant 26, within a fenced-in area. This parking exceeds the threshold set forth in 200-51O, which limits vehicle storage to not more than 5 licensed vehicles requiring minor repairs may be left outside for a period not to exceed 48 hours, and they shall be effectively screened from all property lines, except as to the holding of a vehicle for not more than 60 days for insurance appraisal purposes covering property damage claims, and except as to the holding of a vehicle for the required period to perfect or protect a garage miscellaneous pursuant to statute, and except as to the holding of impounded by the state of New York. At no time shall any unlicensed or dismantled vehicles be outside of the building. So that's regardless of its status. If it's unlicensed, it can't be in the storage area. Okay. Applicant acknowledges that a variance from the zoning board of appeals will be required. We will want to insert a discussion about the location of the dumpster. And then I have a conclusion. In the event that ZBA denies the requested relief, the seeker determination will need to be reevaluated. So what I would suggest is, while we're awaiting the public hearing, chew on this, mark it up. If you have comments, think about your findings, because I'll be polling the board when it comes to that time. We'll hold our public hearing, solicit any public comment, and then whether it's at the next meeting or the 28th, we can go through and the board can articulate it.
Right, so you're recommending like the public hearing to be February.
Well, I think he's saying he'll bring revised plans, and if the notice goes out in time, but the notice is due out like tomorrow.
January, you mean? I just don't think we're in a place to do that, though. I think we haven't had landscape discussions. We haven't had the. I don't know. I don't think we're there.
I think you can hold the public hearing, you just,
Yeah, but the public hearing, you want to be as finalized as possible so that the public says this is what's going on, right? So they know it. I don't think we're there.
Could we have those discussions tonight a little bit? I think
Sure.
it's a work session.
Well, yeah, sure. Let me ask you guys, like, what,
Yeah, it has to be completely just about every T crossed and like that.
yeah, I mean, pretty much so, because,
Before we have it,
right, otherwise you're coming to a public meeting that you're not hearing all the stuff.
Well, that's gonna be discussed later.
Right,
right, no, it has to be done ahead of time. So.
yeah. So, I mean, we can discuss the landscaping and the, you know, the different things that need to be discussed, the lighting.
Should there
So-
really be two dumpsters? There has to be one for cardboard, one for garbage, right? You have to have two dumpsters on site.
For one for recycling, one for, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well, but they can, I believe they can all fit within the same enclosure.
Yeah, well, totally, yeah.
Correct,
So
yeah.
that would be a double enclosure, that so to
I
speak?
believe they're 9 by 18. So yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that fits there, Mike?
that fits perfectly there. Yeah, it looks a little like it's floating out in outer space on its own, but there's plenty of room between the dumpster and the nearby stairs and whatever four
So you
vehicles
can
to
go straight
circulate.
in, throw it over the top, and then just go right around the building.
Yep, he would just have to back up slightly just so he
Yeah.
can continue to make a left. That's
a
it.
whole lot, that could work, yeah.
You can get all the way around the site now. I mean, and in terms
Even
of,
if there were cars on the other side, he could still get through, that'd be okay.
he would actually, yeah, if we had, we're not supposed to be parking outside of our property line, but
No,
if,
I know the big thing is you can't back up on the road, right? That was a big discussion last time. Yeah, he could, yep,
throw it over the top,
Yep.
do this,
yep.
and go right back.
Mike, that's a 8 foot by 9 foot 6 inch enclosure you have, not 9 by 18.
Oh, it's not 9
No,
by 18.
yeah, I was
That-
gonna say it looked a little squarish.
Yeah,
But
it-
yeah, it's
That's gotta be able to get
not
two,
double wide, maybe you wanna make that 9 by 18.
sure.
Yeah, I can do that.
I would show that in the plans.
Right.
Cause you're gonna need, and then, now double that, can you still get around it? If you keep going off the obviously side, it would be.
Yeah, I'll check that.
Let's check that, yeah.
And that fits, Mike, that truck that we're talking about can get through those parking spaces between the building and the parking spaces?
I'll run a turning diagram.
With a car there, obviously. Yeah,
Right.
Or cars, plural.
Right.
So just so I understand correctly. I'm gonna run a turning diagram just as what's shown here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Going out around that next corner.
yeah,
Of course,
Right.
I'll show it circulating.
yeah.
Correct,
Right,
yes,
right, right, right.
correct.
Yes,
And then obviously make the dumpster twice as big, you know,
correct. I'll make it as big as it's needed for two.
Yeah, that's it.
Two bids.
Yeah. Now, can it not go, is the reason why it's at the points on that dotted line there, can it not go further back? Is there a setback
I think that's
requirement?
the property line, right?
I'm just wondering why, where it's can it go
Where the line
further?
hits the dumpster.
Can it go further towards the Heritage Trail, I guess is the question?
Can it come this?
Yeah,
This is where our property.
that's, okay,
Right,
that was,
that's right.
okay, okay.
that's the encroachment.
And that next line, Mike, is the fence, correct? That the county's supposed to
Right
approve.
down here where the X's are.
Right, that's the one that the county has not yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Do they access the storage area from that back lane? Like to the right of the 6 parking spaces you have there?
Which way were you?
To the right of that.
Right where you're pointing.
To the right of it.
Just down, is that where they get in and out of the storage area?
This is another location, yes, if you go.
So you couldn't put the dumpster there?
I thought about it,
Yeah.
but if we can scroll down a little bit, to like the next page. You'll go to the site plan, it's probably page 3 and 4. I'll tell you this. Stop right there. So yeah, if you can see here, it's 26 feet wide, this space. Realistically, I might be able to stick another one there because I really don't need a two-way access there because it's gonna be operated by somebody as if they're like a parking attendant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the reality of it is, you know, this is probably gonna do something like this or something like that. So, I mean, I could wedge one in there. I could probably get another 8.5 by 9 in there.
Because I'm guessing that's why that's 9.5, 9 foot 6 inches, the enclosure there, because you wanted to make sure you have room.
Correct. So, I mean, we probably could stick another one here, which would still leave us with, you know, worst case scenario, even 9, we'd have 17 feet, plenty of room to get a car in and out.
So
The only problem is I'd have to put the dumpster on the bottom here so the truck would
Right,
pull
pulls in,
forward to
that's
it, back up and get out. I can't really.
And it's not central either to the other buildings, right?
No,
That's the other
this
part.
one would probably mostly serve this at that point, right?
You just do cardboard over
I
there.
mean, we would have one here, if I'm understanding correctly, we would have one here and one there. One would be recyclable, one would be regular trash.
Yeah. You just.
So what, and so now I'm not understanding, so why wouldn't they both be together in a 9x18?
Because the
In
room.
case I,
You might
Don't
have
have
it
it
Oh,
right
if
there.
there, if there's not enough room,
Yeah.
okay.
so it's an
And
alternative.
so this is an alternative.
It might be tight there to try to hit that angle.
It's odd, because you get this
Yeah.
little retaining wall here, I can't rotate this thing like parallel to the property
Right.
on here, because then I can't get the truck to like line up with it.
It's one-way circulation around the building?
It's,
Right.
at this point, well, yeah, we don't have enough room here, I don't believe.
So Mike, if you put the other one to the right side, the second one, how do the parking spots interfere with that if a truck is trying to get to it?
There's no parking spots there.
There are.
This is just for vehicles.
No, roll up, scroll up,
No, that's just a blank spot there, Joe.
look further. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Oh, wait, maybe, does that come in?
Right there.
Right there.
It's a blank
I
spot.
see parking spots.
Well,
Give it a sec.
It'll,
This is the
Or
title
it's gonna
sheet,
take
so the
more.
sheet we were just on is a larger view of this,
right, so see those parking spots?
yeah,
right here.
Yeah, where are they? In the other sheet.
they were there.
They're there.
I think you just gotta.
So the dumpster would go kind of where that big
Right there.
block right there.
Right there.
The dumpster, and by the way, there's a little light pole right there too, Dave, so
Okay.
we probably could remove that light pole, but.
I mean, you're squeezing the area to get in and out of the storage area, that's the problem.
Again, I don't think we need 26 feet there. Because again, it's gonna be like parking lot attendant operated. I don't think there's gonna be like that kind of free flowing traffic. So,
You mean to keep the small, a 9.6" one on the left side and put another
Same.
9'6".
Yes.
right, and I would leave
Split 'em up.
17, there'd be plenty of room to get a car in and out left over.
One recyclable.
And plenty of room for the truck to empty that one.
Yes, if we place a dumpster right here, I'd have to like either remove, I don't think this light pole is being used for anything anyways, if I'm not mistaken, so we'll just remove this or relocate it if necessary. We'll put another small one here, we have that one there, one will be for regular trash, one will be for recycling.
Beating us to death.
Where it's located over here, this would not preclude the use of cars getting in and out, that space is left over, we have at least 17, 18 feet left.
Okay.
So we really only would need 12 feet to get a car in and out, we'd have more than that.
Okay. And the other thing, so when are we expecting to hear Elizabeth, or maybe you don't even know, from the county to say, it's confirmed?
I don't know. That part,
Because, here's why I say that, before you even know. Because if they don't confirm it, then some things change.
Correct.
We would be changing the site plan, correct. We'd have to reopen another public hearing
So
at that point.
that's the other,
But you hear they have to reopen the public.
We would take no exception
right,
to that.
Because
but
if you
why,
close
but
the
why
public-
reopen a public meeting? Why not wait for that to come in? Because if we're, that's what I'm saying, like,
Right.
then you're not doing two
Wait a
things,
month.
that's two more meetings.
That's your call.
Yeah, so I don't think we do it until that's in.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's the board's privilege, whatever you want. I can tell you, we would take no I mean, I would expect within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna get something from the county. There's no guarantee.
So we could set it and then just cancel it.
That would be an acceptable approach also. I would be okay with that.
We don't have everything.
If we don't have a county letter, we'll cancel it. I would agree with that statement.
You can remove the literature, the verbiage on, so we're getting employee parking over.
Well, I'll do that anyways.
Does it have to go
Dumpster
public?
on.
When does it-
Regardless, I'll make sure that that's changed to employee parking, and I can add another dumpster in that corner. That's not a lot of work for me to do, yeah.
Elizabeth, is notice for a public meeting 10 days?
And is it calendar?
And is it calendar days?
I'm not that good.
Oh, yes, you are.
Like, is it just a
10 days,
dumpster, or is it
that's
actual, like,
18. He said
Right.
5 days.
It's the full village standard
Okay.
enclosure detail. It's already on the plans, so I would just have to include another location.
Yep.
In that section we just discussed, I'd change the labeling across the street. That solves that problem. And then I think landscaping I thought based on the vegetated buffer that we had
I don't
included.
think we completely decided on the front part.
I think we decided
We were
that.
talking
But
about
there's
it.
nothing
There's-
there.
The problem is,
It's either raise it and put a
Right.
planting in that was what the discussion was.
once you
But
put
we
something
never
there,
ended up.
listen, here's what happens, it doesn't get maintained and it gets trashed by the salt trucks. I think it's
Yeah,
kind of,
it's-
But it's
I
gotta
think
be,
that's what we
but when
came
you,
up with.
when you do this, you have to maintain in perpetuity.
But
They have to
that's,
maintain.
but I would say that's unfair to the applicant. If we're
Well, I mean,
gonna,
that's what we do. That's every applicant.
I'm not disputing that, but what I'm trying to say is that if we were to put, I don't think we have the room for it on the site. It's difficult to retrofit the site for meeting the intent of the code, but in any project, if I'm putting planters up along a roadway where there's a curb, you can be guaranteed those plants are gonna be killed every year. And you can be guaranteed the applicant's gonna have to replant every year. And in that sense is what I'm trying to say is somewhat unfair
No, I think what we
to
were
the
talking about,
applicant.
Mike,
Yeah.
at the time, and what didn't get resolved is, it's not at grade. It's lifting up like a 2-foot planter all the way. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, but
Then the plows aren't gonna,
I disagree with that, because when they're plowing along a street, and this long stretch on Elm Street, the straightaway, there's gonna be a lot of snow when they make several passes, and that's gonna, I could tell you live like on a dead end, and I can have 3 inches of snow, and I'll get,
yeah.
you know,
And that may be the case.
yeah,
All I'm
yeah.
saying is, we didn't finish the discussion.
Sure.
That's all.
And then it also might affect the deliveries, because you know there's gonna be tractor trailers delivering
Yeah.
stuff down there, so.
they're gonna get hit, knocked over.
Well,
And the latest one is that round thing out in front, wasn't that? in this
Yeah, if we go, there's a landscaping plan if we wanna go to it and take
Yeah,
a look.
let's just go there quick.
how do deliveries get delivered? Just right on the road, just.
Public notice is 10 calendar
No, they
days.
do pull in front of the garage at this time, so what I've got shown
It's
there
every day.
is
You gotta
not
get
too
it to the-
different, like a wide space.
Right,
Gotcha,
right.
yeah.
So why
The
would,
way I have it shown right now, it's better, they can come in on the one side and go all the way
Right.
around and back out, so now we have a set way.
So they're not getting tractor trailer deliveries then, or?
Trucks be able to make the turns.
Yeah, exactly, right,
It's a
right.
box truck,
Yeah,
so it's pulled, again, this is
like a garbage truck.
chocolate cheese, that's all it's ever getting in there. The physical limitations speak for
Yeah.
themselves. That same plan, if you just went down, Terry, to,
Oh, it's the same?
yeah, that same plan should have the landscape.
no, usually it's separate, so, sorry, Terry. I just directed.
But we basically had some planter boxes up along the front of the building. And that front of the building is not too far away from the street.
Why was I thinking you had a circular thing?
It's semicircular, but along the front of the building.
Oh, there it is, right.
Yeah, so, this is like, we took basically a parking spot and we turned it into a planting island, and put a tree there. And we've got these planters in the front over there as well. And
Yeah,
other
anything along the
locations
road
that it
is
doesn't, that's another thing too, is impacting traffic circulation on the site makes it very difficult to, even on this side where I've got the curb cuts, putting a planter just where the curb cut is on either side, it's not practical. But this will give us, some greenery along the frontage, plus the vegetated buffer on the other side of the screen for the residential property. Karen, I don't know if you guys know her, she's a very good landscape architect. If there's a way to make something, and we only state this, if she can put more trees on her property, she absolutely will do so if she can.
I'm personally satisfied with that. I don't think there's much more you can do, but that's just my personal thing.
I'm the same, yeah. You can't put anything against a road, it'll just get destroyed. Those plows are gonna just take it right out, even if it's a 2-foot raised planter box.
And what's happening to the building facade, does that change at all?
No, if we want to bring those plans up, we can take a look at them, but they've been the same for a few months now, the architectural plans.
Do we have those for the public?
You should, yeah, let me see. So we gave you some elevation views to look at. I think the next sheet might be actually be more of a there should be one that's got a rendering in it, kind of, right? Yeah, this might not be the latest
Yeah,
plans.
do we have the rendering?
Yes, there is a document. Jeff, if you go into OneDrive, under
Yep.
previous documents,
Oh, they're not
it's
changing.
labeled 123 Elm Street Edition 9-30-2024, dated October 4th, 2024.
There we go. So if you scroll down, you'll actually see an elevation view.
Yeah, like,
If you keep going down from there, I believe we
So
should.
what are you doing, Mike, to the building itself?
Well, you're gonna need to see the other sheets in order to see what that looks like, so keep going down.
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it? We have architectural plans, I know we do, because I looked at them before I came here, that we submitted that actually show a little bit, their elevation views are a little bit more color, and I think that has the materials listed on the actual plan itself.
And that was previous to, so they should be, you just submitted those, Mike?
They definitely submitted it, not.
Wait, hold on. Maybe, nope.
These are the ones. This has to be.
That's okay.
I can actually email them to you right now, because I asked him for them tonight before we came here to double check. So this should be, those are the ones, I think, are those dated 9/13?
I don't see
It's
anything.
labeled 9/13/20.
I don't see anything yet, unless you have them there.
123 Elm Street 9-13-2024. Is there anyone I can email? Terry, can I email you?
What was the date on that, Mike?
9/13/2024, that's the way the file was named.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have it.
Which looks kind of like what we were looking at, but these are the most updated. And then I mean, I can even send you the materials. I don't have them physically, but.
I think based on where we are, and I think have materials for the next submission date. Notice is gonna be tight, notice would have to be perfect.
I agree with you.
Let's, I think here, and then I have to go get it. Push to February, because then you can have all of this stuff resolved. You can have your submissions, you can have your.
I agree.
We can have
Why are
a
we
work
trying to-
session together the first
Yeah, we're trying
time
to-
in February,
Yeah,
and then we go to the public hearing.
Could we at least make the submission for the 28th to get extra time to review with the board, to make sure that everything's buttoned up, and then if we need the work session in February, we have that as well?
You can submit any time.
Mhm.
It doesn't affect what we do in February.
I would have missed the planning board meeting date submission for January 28th, though.
For February, you mean?
No, so what I was trying to suggest was, I'm gonna make a few minor changes to the plans.
Right.
We're gonna relabel that vehicle storage area
Right, so if
to,
you submit all that before the February submission date, it's still February.
okay. I just was hoping that the one meeting in February, the work session would be enough, You follow what I'm saying? To make sure we address all the comments. I was looking if we could still be on the 28th meeting for these minor changes to get extra time
On
to.
the January 28th meeting.
Correct, but not for a public hearing, just to come in and discuss the changes that I'm gonna make to the plans.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong.
Only because
I
they're,
think they're pretty minor.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, yeah. I didn't know that's what you're saying, yeah.
Material
that's fine.
list and a couple little minor
Yeah,
things.
and then,
if,
and then give us the architectural materials too, serial numbers, that stuff, actual samples.
you think we can make it, or you wanna go?
Don't break
Bring it all in.
Right, and then I'll update I haven't clicked send yet on my email, so I'll update the notice.
Yes.
And what we'll do on the 28th is set the public hearing for the February meeting.
Yep.
And then Terry, you'll have the notice that night, you'll have it ready to go. And then
Right, because you can have it ready.
instantly.
Two quick questions for you, just wanna make sure.
And to Mike's point, if we discuss it on the 28th, and if we still have some comments, hey, that's the first week in February to,
Yeah, and Elizabeth,
Hold on,
go ahead.
You took care of the fences on the plan, right, Dave? That was the one comment. Yeah. That's the, yeah.
And I think we also need confirmation from the county
oh, yeah.
to do that.
Well,
So,
I would expect to have it by then. If it's not there by
Right,
then,
right.
I think these gentlemen have further discussions to have. And it's not
With the
us.
county,
Yeah.
right.
There's something wrong.
Could you also send me a draft of was that a neg deck you were reading before? Just so I can have it and,
It is
be able
very
to.
much a draft and.
No
subject to
worries,
their-
that's fine.
their input.
So we'll get everything possible we can get into you for the 28th meeting, and whatever we don't, we'll have it for you for the whatever February meeting, and that should carry us across the finish line, hopefully for a public hearing in February. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes,
That makes sense.
yep.
Okay, good. Lighting, do we want to hit lighting at all?
Yeah, we
Tiggs?
do. So what is the light, so Mike, walk us through what the lighting is currently. And then Dave, I don't know if, yeah, I'm sure you reviewed it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I'm trying to remember if we had comments on the lighting. It's existing, it's all existing, right?
Yeah, most of what's there, whatever's.
It's an addition to the building, right?
Correct. So the building would just, I think we're showing those on the architectural plans. You're gonna have wall-mounted sconces. There's no lighting that's changing within the site itself.
Right.
So whatever's there is existing being used, we're gonna utilize currently what's there.
So what is currently there?
I believe there's some actual light poles that cast enough light from the street into the parking lot. There's also a couple little floodlights along those poles that point into the parking lot as well.
So is any of that hitting the, flowing over into the neighbors at all?
I think everything points into our property as opposed to like out, if that makes any sense. I mean, we had shown, I would do a drive-by too, and I had shown you guys some photos too of what it looks like at night in that area. I mean, the parking lots, as it stands right now, is well lit. Enough for the purposes it serves.
So nothing proposed on the actual new building, right?
Nothing other than, these like.
Yeah, right.
One is they would come and show you.
Are those sconce lighting?
Yeah, they're sconces. I would imagine they're the type that cast light.
Yeah.
Get a cut sheet?
Yeah, if you had a cut sheet, you'd probably get that.
Get a lighting cut sheet. And try to bring in a lighting cut sheet to show you what the
Yeah, that'd be great.
building mounted lights look like.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't expect that those, I mean, we're only showing them right here at the entrance, and I think there's one in between.
Oh, they're all up top too, okay, I see.
And the facade of the building is being changed?
Yes, to what, well, I mean, it's gonna be like a CMU block look with some type of stucco look.
Okay, so is there any renderings that you have of that, Mike?
We have renderings of the building? We do have them, don't we?
No overhangs, or that's just a flat?
So I think can we go back, Terry, to those other renderings? Those were just aerial view renderings, is that what I'm?
Yeah, the apartment design ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just overhead.
I think we can try to, I mean, those elevation views are pretty much renderings, but we can try to dress them up a little bit more for you if you
Yeah,
want.
just so we see what it's gonna look like,
Yeah.
and any comments we need to make.
Mike, did you say that the parking, across the street, what's now gonna be the employee parking, there's existing pole mounted lighting?
Yes, yeah, you guys had asked me that question a few months ago, so we went to the site and I've labeled all the lights. Most of them were on a survey, actually one or two are missing, I put them on. That parking lot's also very well lit by the interior existing lighting that's there.
And that wouldn't be part of us anyway, because it's leased.
It's Frontier's property,
So
yeah.
it doesn't matter for us, right, for the light.
Yeah, the existing lighting that's there is sufficient, we wouldn't be changing anything. So what we can try to do is give you a different perspective on that, so that you're maybe looking more at it from like a street view.
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly what we're looking at. And then we just need, then the materials you're gonna plan on using, the colors, the serial numbers, the actual color numbers, all that.
Yep, we can do that.
And the office is on the second floor? if I-
Correct.
Are they all for that business, or are there gonna be plans to rent it out?
My understanding is it's all for the business, is that correct?
For that business?
There's gonna be a storage area up top that's to serve the business as well as the offices. Right now, if you walk in, there's, I don't know, 10 by 10 area that's their office space. They don't really have much of any office space right now in the facility.
All right, I think that's good. We'll just, submit those things.
Okay, we'll get as much as we can in for the 28th. There'll be certain things we definitely can submit that are easy lifts, and then if there's anything we can't get that we need more time, we'll have it for you for the February work session in anticipation of the public hearing.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for your time. Well, I'm actually going to represent the next application, so you're not done with me quite yet.
Well, you're under punishment here.
All right. And I'm gonna.
So you're doing, wait.
I'm not.
You're doing 386?
I'm gonna do the best I can. Is what I'm gonna do. I don't.
You're gonna get a beating.
I don't even want to. I don't even. I'd rather be the one who does the talking than you guys tonight. Actually, I could tell you what I know and what we can maybe advance.
Then we'll tell you what we know.
I may not want to know. All I can tell you is that I did review Dave's letter. I did review Liz's letter. I take no exception to the comments. I'm sure that they're fine. There was a couple of things I had some questions on it. The applicant may find useful if we can get an answer to them.
So are you filling in for Joel Mann?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've looked at these plans for about a half an hour before I came here tonight. So just do the best you
So
can.
let me just, I'm gonna start this off. It's a disaster, this whole thing, just so you know. I mean, as far as what they've done, total disregard of the law.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna look at this with a fine-tooth comb on everything. So just so you know, because it's just, they didn't show up at our last meeting, no nothing. So that's just, that just tells you what the applicant is like.
Understood.
And I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know
Right.
that might be, are you the applicant for this particular? Okay, so that's the first time I've met him, so.
Yeah, so you didn't show up last time. You clear cut your lot with no permissions.
Right, you didn't show up.
You didn't show up last meeting.
Right.
No. Nobody came. So you're the applicant and you don't know that you were not represented at the meeting? Must not be an important project to you. That's what I would say. So, yeah, let's do the comments.
You want me to start?
We've been doing the same order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Project description. This application involves the use of the site for the sale and storage of lumber and building materials, which includes a 30 by 40 expansion of an existing office building, construction of a new 5,400 square foot storage building, outdoor material storage bins, new fencing, and parking areas. The project site consists of 2.5 acres with a single access drive from Route 17M in the general business district. As the plan submitted is only conceptual, the comments below shall be considered preliminary. 1. The zoning permit storage of lumber and building materials by special permit subject to sections 200-48. The applicant should provide a narrative describing proposed business, which discusses how the project relates to the special permit criteria, for example, traffic laws, hours of operation, noise, screening, landscaping, etc., for planning board consideration. Number 2, uses associated with each of the buildings should be identified on the plan, for example, residential, sales, storage, etc. Number 3, the site plan should be signed and sealed by a licensed land surveyor or reference made to a plan signed and sealed by a licensed land surveyor along with a copy of reference survey. Number 4, a parking calculation table should be provided which includes all uses at the site. The calculation should include the residential uses on the site. Sorry, there's a typo in there. Number 5, from the EAF dated October 9th, 2024, it is stated that 0.92 acres will be disturbed by the project. In that case, based on Village Code 168-11, any proposed action with more than half acre of disturbance is classified as a land development activity. Section 168-12A states that no application for approval of a land development activity shall be reviewed until the appropriate board has received the stormwater pollution prevention plan prepared in accordance with the specifications in this article and Article 1 of this chapter. Therefore, a SWIP will be required. Number 6, existing and proposed utilities should be shown on the plans. Number 7, details for ADA parking, striping, and signage shall be provided. Number 8, site distances for the driveway should be provided. Number 9, Village Code Section 200-34H3 requires that all dumpsters placed in the village have a dumpster enclosure. Details for the dumpster enclosure shall be provided. Number 10, plan should include a note indicating that wetland boundaries were delineated by the qualified professional and should include who performed the delineation and when. Number 11, pursuant to Village Code 200-72I1B, the following will need to be provided on or along with the site plan. A, acreage of each distinct land use and the proposed density of each, if residential uses are proposed. B, existing school zoning and special district boundaries within 100 feet of the tract. C, all existing and proposed means of vehicular access and egress from the site, including details and calculations for turning radii. D, location of all existing and proposed water lines, valves and hydrants, all sewer lines, and other utilities. E, existing and proposed fencing, landscaping, buffer strips, and screening where required. F, a detailed lighting plan showing proposed location, direction, and type of outdoor lighting. G, boundaries and identification of existing soil types as may be found in the Soil Survey of Orange County, New York. H, a separate landscape plan showing both existing and proposed landscaping, retaining walls, and tree plantings, including a note on the plan indicating that all approved landscaping will be maintained in perpetuity. I, profile drawings on an appropriate scale of dumpster enclosures. J, parking calculations for the intended use pursuant to the Village of Monroe zoning code. And K, a note specifying hours of operation. 12, Village Code Section 200-32C requires a landscaping plan for all uses aside from a single-family detached dwelling, a two-family residence, or an agricultural use. Landscaping is also subject to Section 200-44J and 200-45J. 13, based on Village Code definition of a building, the storage bins shown would qualify as, quote, a structure wholly or partially enclosed within exterior walls or within exterior and party walls and a roof affording shelter to persons, animals, or property. Furthermore, the primary use for the site is listed as sale and storage of lumber and building materials, meaning these buildings are a principal building of the site. The storage bins are shown to be approximately 9 feet from the side lot line and are in violation of Village Code Section 200-14. No principal structure shall be located closer to any street or property line than in conformity to required minimum setbacks displayed in the table of district use and bulk requirements. Number 14, an EAF was provided by the design engineer. The EAF indicates the potential presence of endangered species or habitat, the northern long-eared bats. Plan should include appropriate mitigation measures, for example, limiting tree clearing between April 1st and October 31st. 15, the plan shows a leader labeled limits of disturbance words, typical area equals 0.95 plus or minus acres, however, the leader points to nothing. 16, the plans include a map aside from the overall layout labeled disturbance area. However, the map only includes pavement and buildings. It does not include the necessary grading for the proposed swales, nor the proposed grading around the proposed building. Furthermore, the map does not include the small area on the southeast side of the proposed building that is proposed to be paved on the plan. 17, maneuvering around the dumpster enclosure seems tight, and there is limited room for a large vehicle to turn around if they cannot use the proposed gate. Plans should indicate if the gates will be accessible by garbage trucks, and plans shall include a turning analysis for trash pickup. 18, site traffic flow should be shown on the plans. 19, a loading area shown on the northwest side of the proposed 60-foot by 90-foot building. The proposed drive that provides access to it appears to be only 12 feet wide. Village Code Section 200-45F requires all interior access roads or access aisles leading to loading spaces shall be a minimum of 15 feet wide for one-way traffic and 24 feet wide for two-way traffic. Number 20, it is recommended that the plan use a different color for gas lines to improve visibility. 21, the project is subject to architectural review per section 200-73. Comment 22, the application will require referral to the Orange County Planning Department for a review pursuant to GML 239 based on proximity to a state highway. Plan should be more developed prior to this referral. And number 23, a public hearing will be required.
Yeah.
I'll try to avoid duplicates. EAF, there's still a blanket number 9, or excuse me, no answer to be addressed by the applicant. Applicant to provide materials listed on architectural samples for review. Buffering between commercial and residential use remains to be addressed. We talked about the SWIP, that a SWIP will be required. This was on my last comment memo for the December meeting. Revised plans depict proposed fill and installation of landscape material bin with roof located in the flood zone. Application subject to floodplain permit. See chapter 107 of the village code. Source of any imported fill and testing of fill to be satisfaction of the village engineer. See requirements of 200-31 land disturbance. Applicant to address traffic flow both internal and external to the site, including on-site maneuvering and site distance. Applicant to provide parking and loading calculations. Signage. Revised plans lack any landscaping existing or proposed. C 200-32 as well as 200-44J and 245J. Applicant provides a basic deduction of purported wetland area. There does not appear to be any indication of wetland delineation or how the wetland area was established for purposes of that calculation. So we need to see the delineation. And I think we got the other two days.
So I have,
approval.
I mean, when I reviewed the letter, I looked at the plans, you know, I get the basic idea. There was like two questions I could possibly ask the board today. I mean, obviously there's a lot of work left to do on the plans. I don't know if I'm going to be the person that represents this application again before this board. I don't know. I'm just here tonight to help out. That being said, number 5, in terms of the SWIP that's required, could we consider looking at a SWIP for only the new impervious area, or because that could make a big difference in how the project is handled?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to all the existing impervious area in the entire site.
The problem is the site was cleared and effectively the entire site was disturbed.
That I didn't know. So we'd have to get a limits of disturbance shown on the plans, see what the soil disturbance is. Either way, we're triggering a SWIP, end of story.
Yes.
So I guess if there was trees and this is a conversation mostly between Dave and I. If there was, not that you guys obviously can't, but it's going to get a little technical. So if there were trees and we go to grass, CN for trees and grass is like 70 versus 71. There's not much of a difference. But again, the impervious surface, if I'm dealing with the entire site as an existing or versus,
So, well, I think what I would say is if there were impervious surfaces that were there before work was done without a permit, then those impervious surfaces would qualify as both under pre-development and post-development. And you don't have to provide water quality treatment or anything.
good.
For asphalt that, or impervious surface that would have been there before any work was done.
Okay,
If anything's been added in terms of imperviousness, it has to be accounted for. If the cover has changed because trees were cleared, it has to be accounted for. I guess
Dave, we don't-
provide something that indicates what the conditions were prior. I mean, you're probably gonna have to use Google Earth historic.
Something.
So Dave, can we just say the whole site? Because we don't know what was there. We can't take their word on that.
There is some, the data that we have is the, I'm just trying to find the right one, I just clicked the wrong one, is the Orange County GIS.
You're right, that's accurate.
Where we can go in and so for example,
They have 2022 LiDAR and orthographic images that would show what the site looked like as recent as 2022, all the way back to, I think, early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken.
but we wanna see that as part of the justification that this is.
100%.
This is the.
So we could provide an overlay of that mapping on a plan, and we can take a look at if there's been soil that's been disturbed, trees, pervious surfaces that have been disturbed where impervious has been added that you don't know about. We'll include that. But if I understand Dave correctly, we'll look at the existing conditions. All the existing asphalt that's there would be the existing condition. We'll use mapping to prove that. And then the post condition would be any new impervious surfaces we have. So I would only need to meet the difference between the pre-development and the post-development. So he answered my question, which is typical in the industry. So that's fine. We could provide water quality in association with the redevelopment project. Because I think the code.
Only if it qualifies as redevelopment. In other words, like if you were disturbing a previously impervious area, then that would qualify for redevelopment. But if your disturbance is new.
It's full, yeah, I agree, full water quality, yeah, all new impervious surface has to have full water quality, I agree with that statement.
Correct.
Yes, okay, we're in agreement.
Okay.
And I can only comment on this slightly. I think number 13, an email was sent to me. I wasn't being rude before when you guys were reading comments. I was trying to find the email. Related to, I think, the side yard setback, and I'm not sure I can read this email from Jim Cox and if it'll make sense to everybody, but it said it looks like according to 200-26.2 B and F, and this is, I think, related to the storage sheds, it cannot be in the front yard but needs to meet bulk requirements in the GB zone. So I see the side and rear yard is good, but it needs to meet the setbacks. Does that make sense to you, Dave?
So I think, I'm just comparing it to the comment that I had, where basically I think we were saying that because it's the storage bins have a roof on them, it's enclosing materials in the interior, it meets the definition as a structure.
Yeah.
We had on here, it was storage bins are shown to be approximately 9 feet from the side lot line or in violation of Village Code 200-14. No principal structure shall be located closer to any street or property line than in conformity to the required minimum setbacks displayed in the table of district use and bulk requirements. So in other words, it's a structure, it needs to meet all of the setback requirements. And I think that's what Jim's email is saying.
Okay, I'll need to look up what 226.2 B and F is myself, actually, but.
I don't have that code referenced in this paragraph here, but
200-26.2 B and F, yeah, do you have it available? I'm just curious myself.
226.2.
26.2 B and F.
2.2 B, an accessory structure shall not be located in a front yard, and F, an accessory accessory structure must meet all bulk requirements for the district in which it's located.
And if Dave's saying that's a principal structure, then we've got to meet it. Okay. I mean, I can have the applicant,
I think if I had called it principal structure, then maybe that's something that, again, maybe would require determination from the building inspector. I think it's clearly, he's saying it's a structure, but I think he's saying it's an accessory structure.
accessory structure, that's what, that was my gathering.
So we need an interpretation.
And I can get the applicant to work with Jim on that. And that's about as much as I probably can contribute to you guys tonight. I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted me to bring back tonight as a part of the meeting tonight. I'd be glad to,
I just think all the comments that
need to be addressed.
Yeah, that need to be addressed.
So just,
You know, if you look at it, I don't know, guys, if you're taking a look at the site, I mean, it's totally stripped. Okay, for the 60 by 90 building.
Yep.
It's in the 100-year floodplain.
Dave, did you have anything to say on that, the floodplain?
It's in the floodplain, isn't it,
building?
Mike?
I don't know for sure, Joe.
I don't remember reading that just now, is that very true?
the landscaping bin storage is in the floodplain.
Not the building.
The buildings themselves are not. I did just, for the record, Google Earth, if you ever, is a great tool and has historic,
Information.
that's the 2024 image.
And just so you guys are aware, I think Jim Cox, probably most municipalities have access to Nearmap. Nearmap can give you like changes on like almost a daily basis. So if you really,
2022.
so if you really want to see something even clearer, probably Jim probably has better records than even that.
This is what's available to me instantaneously.
I mean, I think when you submit the plan set, whoever submits the plan set, they should have a comparison of this is what they're seeking the approval on, because it's either been done or they're incorporating that into the plan, and what was there before that work was done.
You know, if you look at that site and you see some of the bins that are there and the way they're all around the whole site, I don't know if it's called redevelopment or whatever, but I think the plan that we approve has to be for the whole site.
For sure.
That's what I think, not just the piece that they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
agree.
just to be clear, what Mr. Morganti was asking with respect to the SWIP, and I'm going back to the 2022 picture, that's existing pavement. I have no objection to him taking credit on a SWIP. This is just the stormwater, it's not the whole site. We're not talking about site plan approval. Yes, the site plan approval is going to affect the whole site. But the stormwater, he gets to say this existed, but he has to account for all of it.
Right.
So this little piece here, he could say that existed.
Dave, is there no wetlands on that?
You have to count
There's
all
wetlands in the
around it.
front.
No, yes.
Like,
Okay.
just off
The road, yeah.
So might as well do the whole
Like
site.
a, yeah, like a little.
Yeah.
Once we lay it out, once we, I don't know, again, if I'm gonna be involved, but once we get it, yeah, we'll have to show you what it looks like before and after, and take into consideration what we need to do. So take care of the letter,
Yeah, I think just the comments need to be addressed
and I got some clarification on those two items, so,
and the building inspector's determination.
okay, yeah, we'll get something from Jim.
Any other questions from the board? No. I think that's it, Mike.
Thank you all again very much for your time tonight, appreciate it, have a good night, and Happy New Year to everybody.
You're a brave man, Mike.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Is this off? I don't want to get that one.
Didn't even know